Hey, what's up? It's the Red Eye stream number 149. Infowars gets deplatformed from pretty much everything. Um,
They were banned from the internets.
yeah, what the fuck, right? Okay, so I mean, if you can't brand somebody as fake news and make that stick, then you just deplatform them altogether, right? Then you don't have to have the battle.
Apparently, because that's
But
smart.
well, no, and I'm wondering, did they fucking? This seems like a coordinated effort. They
Of
they
course it
banned
was.
him from Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, fucking everywhere. I mean, the dude's lucky to even be allowed on Gab at this point, right?
Well, Gab won't ban him.
I know, I was being facetious, but
Hmm.
I mean, really, it's fucking ridiculous, Quinn. Um,
The thing, have they only banned his main channel or have they banned everything else?
Everything.
Oh, okay. Alright. Because,
well,
most
well,
people
no,
have.
and it was actually brought up. I believe Sticks brought it up. Maybe Computing Forever. I'm not sure which one. I was watching a couple videos on this, before we started the show. But his website uses the YouTube embedded videos, so now his website doesn't even have his podcast anymore. Like, I mean, it's fucked.
Yeah, the only way I was able to find him earlier today ranting his egotistical, narcissistic ass off was through his InfoWars app. And yes, I do have his InfoWars app.
Did you buy the water filter too? Because now he needs to sell some
Fuck
motherfucking
you,
water
Mad.
filters.
No,
God damn it, the bug
I
out
just
bag.
wanted to. I
No,
just wanted to see what he was saying about him being banned from the internet.
I bet he was losing his mind.
He was as red as a goddamn beet, or are they more purple? But still, be that as it may, he was still bright red.
well, I mean, yeah, they took out Roseanne. They got her fired. You know, they're going after Alex Jones. He's not allowed to fucking say his piece. I mean, it seems like shit is getting fucking crazy. And if you could take down a channel with 2.5 million subscribers, what chance does a channel like mine have? Really? You know,
No.
I'm at 1.1k. They could
Yeah.
kill me fucking hella easily.
But that's the point. They actually won't, because, and I do not mean this in any form of disrespect, just in case you decide you want to try and take it away tough, you can't. You're not important enough. You're too small. They've got bigger targets to get. Will they get to you? Maybe. Depends on how big a purge they decide to go for. But at this point, we as the groups that we sort of hang around with are generally safe.
You missed my Ministry of Love quote in Discord, didn't you?
Yes. Yes, I did. Sorry,
It's the beginnings of the Ministry of Love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, 1984 is a great allegory for this, actually, because they are going to silence the big people first, obviously. They got to take out Alex Jones before they can go after Mad Dodge. But, I mean, who's next? Is Styx going to be taken down? Are they going to take him out next?
They'll take down anybody who they're afraid of. And that's just it. They are the ones who are afraid. And to take down the ones that they are afraid of is going to instill fear in the ones that are trying to fight against them. It will put the quote-unquote fear into our hearts. Either that or make us fight harder.
I'm hoping the fight hard part comes up. Just, making the point. Don't, literally, like the old quote says, don't let the bastards beat you down. I know it's a trite comment and you've probably heard it a million times, but this is one of the cases where that actually would apply. If you let them beat you, it's going to sound stupid, but if you let them beat you, they've won. They can't beat you if you keep going. Even if you are kicked from YouTube, there are other places. don't let them beat you, because I don't think Alex is going to let them beat him. He's going to fight in some way or another. And as has been said before, he's actually going to benefit out of this a lot more than people think he is.
No shit, Sherlock. Why do you think I downloaded this damn app?
Case in point. It's just, yes, he's been shit on, but how am I going to put this? Shit is still fertilizer. He can grow out of this and actually get a lot more powerful. So they may think they've done a good thing, but I think they've helped him more than they've harmed him. But that's just my opinion. What the fuck do I know? I don't even run a channel.
I think this is the most words Quinn has ever said, ever.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for actually talking for once, Quinn. My wife came in the door and I was talking to her, so I appreciate you actually, adding something in the conversation today.
So the one I actually talk, you're not even listening. No, that's it. Fine. I'm going back to my page. Right again. You screwed it, Mad. I'm sorry. You've done it. You've ruined everything.
Well, it is what it is. I'm good at ruining stuff.
Yeah, just ask his wife.
Oh.
Hey now. Keep the gloves up. Keep the gloves up.
Meow.
Oh, you know I love you.
But no, I mean, okay, so it's a real question that I'm posing here. Who is next? They took out Alex Jones. They got, if he's deplatformed, what about the dozen people that work for him? What they do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
Well, in answer to your question, how about this Milo Yiannopoulos dude? Has he got an absolute shitload of people?
Oh, I thought they already took him out a long time ago, right?
I have no idea, but the point is, it's people like him that will be targeted next. They will literally go down this list that they've got. Or if they don't do that, they're idiots. But they're more than likely going to go down this list that they got. If they're going to do this and they're going to terminate the big boys, the little ones are going to be too scared to say anything. And, well, we know that whole tract comment about first they tank her up.
Yeah, well, exactly. You got Zero Cool in the chat. He says they're not afraid of Alex. It's them losing money, and they love money. Styx doesn't make any money from YouTube. YouTube has no monetary reason to be. Okay, yeah, Styx has no monetary reason to be booted from YouTube. Okay, well, Styx also cornered YouTube by saying, I don't give a fuck, I use multiple platforms. But that's the thing. They can take you out simultaneously from every fucking platform, just as they showed earlier today with Alex Jones.
Yeah, but there are certain platforms that don't take you out. There are platforms that people have been using lately that don't give a flying fuck about the sway that YouTube has.
Yeah, BitChute.
That's why a lot of people,
AI.
They don't care what YouTube says, what YouTube does about their quote-unquote sway across the internet. They will go the complete opposite direction and say, fuck you to the internet. We're going to do what we want to do, and what these people say is freedom of speech, plain and simple. Freedom of expression.
The problem is going to be is that it's going to drive wedges, and it's going to drive the even more than it already has people into echo chambers where they're only going to be hearing what they want to hear. They're only going to see what they want to see. And if you're trying to have a conversation, all right, especially with people who don't agree with you or have differing opinions, that's going to be extraordinarily difficult to do on YouTube going forward, or on like Twitter going forward, or even Facebook.
So don't use those platforms anymore.
Okay,
but that's easier said than done. Right now, we're on YouTube. I mean, what other platform? I can't stream on BitChute. I can upload videos over there, but we can't do what we're doing right now over there yet.
We can stream on Twitch.
Well, they're just as bad as YouTube, though. I mean...
Well, okay, you say that. Shirati, you're good at finding out stuff. Has Alex Jones got a channel on Twitch? And if so, has he been kicked from it? Would you mind having a look for us, please? Just so damn good.
Give me a minute.
No problem. Thank you very much. So the point is, if he's on Twitch and is still there, this proves that YouTube doesn't have a total monopoly at this point, just an incredibly strong one. As long as there is a way for his voice to get out, I'm hoping he's going to. It doesn't actually matter whether I like the guy or not. That I don't actually have an opinion on him. He's not important enough for me to have an opinion on. But he's right to actually have his opinion. I do agree with.
Okay, but the question still comes about, okay, is this a free speech issue, or is this a private company issue?
I believe it's a free speech issue. I don't like the idea of making YouTube and stuff like that a utility, but I'm starting to kind of come around to the idea. I mean, because if you start...
It's an absolutely foolish idea. Anybody who comes back with that, they're fooling themselves. If you think that by declaring it a utility, that somehow you're inoculating this, what you're basically doing is you're turning it over to the government to make these decisions. You're turning it over to the government to set up their polices.
Yeah, but the government can't make any laws abridging free speech. Therefore, if you make it a utility and you put it under that umbrella, the government can't touch it.
Really?
That's my point.
I go back to the fairness doctrines of the 1980s and the 1997, or I mean the 1970s rather. Go back to what happened during those time frames. Right, the idea that they can't do that. Oh no! Not only can they will, and they've done it in the past.
So you're saying they would regulate it like the FCC does with
what I just
posted
what I just posted in the chat is Alex Jones's Twitch account. He is live streaming on Twitch right now.
Okay, so they didn't deplatform him. So, okay.
Twitch did. Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with yet, but the point is, they haven't done it at this moment. So, technically, he still has his voice out there, which I actually am glad of. But the question is Twitch controlled by Google? Does anybody know?
No, I don't think they are. I don't think Alphabet owns Twitch. But, I mean, what about other platforms that are taking people out, like, PayPal and Patreon, not allowing Brittany Pettibone or Lauren Southern on their platform? That they literally can't take donations then. They literally killed their source of income. And don't you have a right to have, an income? Like, I don't know.
There's nothing that says you can't set up your own type of income input.
Wait a minute. You're telling me I have to create my own fucking PayPal? Like, no, how much is that going to cost?
Well, who knows? I mean, it isn't just that. You could sit up there and say, if you want to send donations, send it to this P.O. box.
Yeah.
Right. There's several ways that you could actually do this. There are other types of banking services that can be utilized.
Agree. In fact, it's actually more intelligent not to use Super Chat because of the 30% drop you get. Just a point, you're losing 30% of what people would give you, whereas there are services out there where you get 100%, all it takes is for people to stop going, oh, there's only super chat, and understand that there are other ways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to defend them kicking Alex Jones off the platform. Okay, they have the right. It is their right to do so.
Oh yes, everybody has the right.
The question is, the problem with what they're doing is that they're making claims that you, I, and everyone else can't verify. They're saying that they're doing it because of reason X, Y, and Z. We're violating community guidelines, or that he's rather violating community guidelines. That they're doing.
No, and I would like to know what constitutes as hate speech. Sorry to cut you off. That's what they killed his channel over.
And that's the problem. Is you're making a claim, meaning Google, meaning Twitter, right? You guys are making a claim. Facebook, you're making a claim. Show it to us. Show us the evidence. You're creating an accusation saying this happened, okay? And then when Alex Jones comes back and says, I had nothing hateful on there, okay? How are you going to sit up there and say, well, yes, it is, here it is? Well, show us the evidence. Show us what this is. And there's a reason they don't want to show it, because they know very well that that's not what they were doing. That they're their community guidelines, right, are as long as you're a left-wing radical, you're good to go. If you have any other position, it starts to get iffy immediately. For crying out loud, there's a Congress, there's a Republican running for one of the congressional districts in California. All right, and she just recently had a couple of her Facebook posts, right, which were basically ads, pulled, right, where they said this is hate speech. And if you listen to it, it's just her talking about her parents' life, in Cambodia, where her father basically, the military came up to him and said, you're a single male, what are you doing? We're going to arrest you. And he said, I'm getting married soon. And they said, to who? And he just pointed to some girl, right, and said, that woman right there, right? And the military then went over to that woman and said, is it true that you're going to marry this man? And she said yes. And they ended up getting married the next day, and that turned out to be her husband, her father and mother. And they then escaped Cambodia, etc. And the reason is because during that time frame in Cambodia, if you were a single male, you were considered an obstacle and something that needs to be removed, and you got sent to the killing fields. So that's what they were doing, and that's all. She didn't say anything about the killing fields or anything else. She just in this I guess it would be commercial. She just talks about how her parents overcame this, and that they've been married for for so long and so forth, and that this is what she wants to say. They can overcome this. They can make it. I mean, you go into a liberal district and you say, we can win. And that's all she was saying. There is literally nothing that you could point to and say it's hate speech. And yet Facebook came back and said, well, we're banning this because this violates our guidelines. What guideline? No, they don't get an answer. There is no answers to what guidelines that they're violating. Now, Bear Dog, she was making some comments in Twitter, trying to say, well, this is like the gay cake thing. Well, I can see what you're trying to point at, but the reality is the guy who refuses to make the gay cake is saying, this violates my religious principles. I'm not going to make your cake. It's not the same thing. Unless she's trying to say that there are principles, liberal principles that or left-wing principles. When I say liberal, I'm meaning left-wing in this case. There's this leftist principles or these Marxist principles that you have to abide by if you're going to go on Twitter.
Do you remember the good old days when the left actually believed in free speech? Wasn't that crazy?
I don't remember those days because they didn't exist.
Come on. They loved protests and all that stuff during the Bush era. Come on.
Oh, they love to protest, but that doesn't mean they were ever for free speech. You guys have this idea that they were talking about freedom of speech. What freedom of speech? They weren't complaining about Bush because of freedom of speech. They were complaining about Bush because he was considered right-wing and no other reason.
Well, I consider him more of a neocon myself, but whatever.
Well, okay, so you can consider him however you want, but that doesn't mean what the left was. The left has never, ever been for freedom of speech. Now, Cabbage Patch put he put a link out, right? A new video up, right? Did you see that? Did you watch that video about Huxley?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I was watching Common Sense Guy's stream earlier. So
the thing about it is you know, he's talking about Huxley. You know, was the one who wrote Brave New World, and he's warning against all these different things. And he's being interviewed, and one of the people he's being interviewed from is a well-known person from CBS named Mike Wallace. Right? Listen to the questions Mike Wallace asks. Listen to how he approaches things. And you will start to understand just how bad it's been, all right, for decades and decades when it comes to the media.
Leading questions, are they?
It's not just that. You can tell Mike Wallace is totally in bed with, there's nothing wrong with Marxism and communism. I mean, they're able to do a lot of good things. Listen to it. You'll understand what I'm referring to.
Well, as my husband said, when they end up as slaves, it'll be chains that they themselves forged the links for.
Yep.
Well, no, and looking at the chat, Jacob says, so two things can be taken to action, in my opinion. First is either break the businesses up, or two, make them into utilities. I don't necessarily think YouTube is a monopoly in the classic sense. It's just there's no other site with the financial backing that Google brings to the table. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, but the question is from a business standpoint, what is Google getting out of YouTube? All right. Let's start talking about finances for a second. What is Google actually getting out of YouTube or social media? Who's actually doing the backing of these social media platforms?
Well, you know what's interesting is actually YouTube takes a loss every single year and has since it was created. So, I mean, what are they getting out of it? Because they have to be getting something out of it besides their own echo chamber, I suppose.
Always follow the money.
Right? Well, who's supporting them? Where are they getting this money from? And for what purpose? I mean, if you take a look at it, these people are engaging in commentary. It wouldn't surprise me at some point down the line we find out that the government has been giving these guys millions and billions of dollars. I know Google gets a lot of money from the government, don't they?
Would not surprise me in the slightest. Like I said, follow the money. That's how you find out who's, you know, actually in control of this shit.
That's why the attitude of saying, okay, well, they're gonna regulate it. Okay, well, who gets to be the regulator?
The legislature.
Oh, really? They're doing such a wonderful job right now doing legislation, aren't they?
Well,
they basically turn it over to into a bureaucratic group that becomes absolutely unaccountable, like has happened in every single time. Right?
Yeah, but okay, but the problem still remains. If you start classifying stuff as hate speech and deplatforming people, well, then you're gonna allow the real hate speech to be propagated beneath the surface. You know, I would rather listen to David Duke talk his racist bullshit out in the public than hiding in a fucking basement somewhere.
Well, of course, but why? Okay, let me ask a question. Why? If that's the case, and I believe it is as well, Right? Why is it that the left is trying to silence people?
I don't know. That's $1 million
As I said,
question.
I think they're afraid.
Well, okay, what are they afraid of?
They're afraid of people who speak their minds. That's my
Well, they're
genuine
afraid of
thought
being
it.
identified as the same thing. The reason that they talk about the alt-right and Nazis and deplatforming Nazis is they don't want people to know that's who they are. The reason they can't argue, the reason Steve Shives doesn't allow right-wing people, all right, to speak, right, is because he will be shown to be the leftist Nazi that he actually is. That's
Steve
what.
Shives makes me sad.
Why does he make you sad?
Because he actually used to speak some sense. Used to, as in past tense.
You know what makes me sad is whenever I'm watching like Star Trek videos or whatever, fucking Steve Shive will pop up fucking and then play next section. And no, I'm sorry, I don't want to listen to him even talk about Star Trek, much less fucking anything.
Okay. So why is that? Because it interferes with your enjoyment of his entertainment?
Oh, well, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the Shives and Stuffy show because that is just so cringeworthy. I do enjoy watching that. Like, seriously, have you seen that garbage? Anyway, I digress. I think the left is trying to silence people and they are deplatforming them because they know damn well that their ideas will not win out in the public discourse.
Well, of course not, because their ideas are the same thing as those quote unquote radical or alt right. There's no difference between them. There's not a bit of difference between them. It's just a matter of who's going to be the top dog. When the Nazis were fighting the communists in Germany, all right, the fight, the people understood it wasn't that the communists were fighting against the Nazis because they thought the Nazis were corporatists or anything else. They were fighting to see which one of the groups was going to come out on top, like all communists do. Which one of their quote unquote leaders that they've gotten behind is going to win out and purge the rest of them. You know, I mean, which one's going to sit up there? And the reason that the Nazi message won out was because they convinced people that they weren't just agitating to agitate, that they were agitating to stop the communists, right? And we're offering to say, look, as soon as the communists are gone, we're not going to be in the streets, agitating anymore because we're here to create order, right? Now, the communists create order as well. And use the exact same methodologies and the exact same methods. But the difference is that the Nazis were able to put themselves in a position where they said, well, we're just here so that we can, create order because these people are disrupting the public good and the public order and they're a danger to everyone. And they were able to successfully paint them as that. And what you're looking at now is the exact same thing happening in Portland, where both groups are fighting and each side is claiming the other side is the one disturbing the peace.
Well, no, and once again, to wrap it back around to what we're talking about, the deplatforming of people. How many Antifa YouTube channels are there? I wonder. I'm just, throwing that out there.
Too damn many.
And more to the point, how high are they on this list to be deplatformed? Far too low.
Well, no, and once again, what constitutes hate speech? And wouldn't it be worse to actually have the violence that Antifa brings to the table compared to, I don't know, Alex Jones and his fucking water filter company? I mean...
But they're saying the right thing, so they're not going to be targeted at this point. That's the problem. It's not like Google or Alphabet or whoever are actually playing fair. I think the problem is people have still got it in their heads. As much as they're going to sit and say, no, we don't, they still hope that they're playing fair. They're not. They are only doing what is going to benefit them. They're just shining it in such a way that most people aren't going to complain too much. That's why they've targeted him first, because he is a open quotes troublemaker, close quotes.
Okay, well, what is fair?
That
Honestly,
no, that's
what is fair?
that's the problem. That's an impossible question to actually answer, because each person has their own definition of fair.
Freaking Zero Cools in the chat. You called us all nerds. I
That's
won't deny
fine.
it.
Before the stream, I was sitting here watching Naruto, so yeah, I wholeheartedly admit it.
Nerd and proud.
Well, I'm just saying, you would count Dax's spots. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Though 7 and 9 was better with the Borg implants.
I don't know.
Much more interesting, more possibilities.
Dude, you just need to go out and buy yourself that sex bot that you have on Amazon. All right, I saw your wish list. Just go ahead and pull the trigger, man. Go ahead and buy it.
But can anyone answer that question? What is fair?
No, they won't be able to. That's the point.
No, I can answer that question. What is fair? Fair is giving everybody a platform for speech. That there is no such thing as hate speech, just like there's no such thing as a hate crime.
Point.
And how's it going, Memes? For that question,
Memes.
what is fair? Fair is giving everybody a platform for speech.
Memes.
Oh,
There is no such thing as hate speech, just like there's no such thing
You need
as
to
a hate
mute the
crime.
stream, bud.
And how's it going, Memes?
Right, are we back? Cool. So, Mad, you're telling me that you are completely cool with ISIS having their own perfectly legal, perfectly acceptable channel on YouTube talking to people. I just want to check this. I am going to take it down a lot darker path, but I'll start with something small like ISIS.
Once again, just like I said when it came to David Duke's racist piece of shit ass, I would rather have their speech out in the open, and so we know what they're saying and what they're all about.
Okay, so you
So yes,
equally then you'd be cool with the pedophiles having their own channel.
yeah, in San Quentin.
That's the point. You're putting them away. They have the right to have this channel until they actively commit a crime. They've not broken the law. That's the point. They could have the channel where they could spread their ideas. As long as they do not do anything, it's not a crime. Or am I wrong in your country? Because again, I'm the foreigner. The rules may be different over there.
Yeah, I don't know why you had to take it that route, Quinn. Fuck off. But once again, you have a point. Yeah, let the sicko fucking talk so we know who they fucking are and where they're at. You know what I mean? And we can keep a fucking eye on them. Yeah.
So may I make just one quick observation? Is we're not talking about Naruto.
No, we're not talking about Naruto. I was watching Naruto before the stream.
Oh yeah, I heard you say Naruto.
Okay. Well,
hey, Jensen, Common Sense guy wants a link. Can you send him one?
yep. I'll give it a go. Just a sec.
All right, but speaking of ISIS, no, just going back upon what you guys were saying, and JQ does bring up a very prominent point. It's like, what are you going to do? I mean, the counter to the ISIS thing is, all right, if that group is actively killing people, they're committing crimes. Thereby, that would be a direct violation of many of those statutes in terms of service, correct?
Yeah, but are we really comparing Alex Jones with a fucking Osama bin Laden video? I mean, is that what we're doing right now?
Osama bin Laden was part of Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda, ISIS, whatever. Potatoes.
I think MC is trying to speak. I can't hear him, though. Can anyone hear me?
Just being quiet.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Oh. He was biding his time. He's like a lynx, folks. But no. But here's the thing, and I touched upon this a little bit on CSG stream earlier. Is I believe the comparison that I would say is he is basically maybe 2 steps away or 1 step away from inciting violence. Because if you're there, if you have enough folks and everything, and you're like 1776 shall commence again and stuff, he's yelling, he's tearing off his shirt, and I mean he's not doing it in the Hulk Hogan fashion. It's like it's mapping onto people's neurons and stuff. It's like, all right, this dude is saying this. So again, I do err on the side of free speech and everything. Yeah, the man said some crazy shit, and if he has violated it, that's fine, but you need to enforce it equally among all these different folks. So if all these other folks are doing stuff like that, then you need to take the same thing. If you're not going to take the same action, then you need to be fair to the dude. And I believe the argument to basically say how this works. I'll give you the example. You guys remember what happened to the Republican baseball team. Steve Scalise nearly died. The dude was shot up there. Basically, if you take a look at the individual, who I don't even remember his name, it doesn't matter, he's just an anode in history. This is a man that likely, and I don't know what's in another person's head nor heart nor the exact situation, but I could infer, again, this is strictly speculation, that if you went through what he was viewing through his history, the TV channels, the sites and stuff, you're probably going to find more of a particular variety. But at the same time,
a lot of Rachel Maddow.
All right, whatever. Hey, I don't know that. If that's true, then it's true. I don't know this. However,
okay, let me ask a question, Memes.
Go ahead.
You made that point. Why don't we know?
That's a good question. I mean, does it matter?
Well, wait a minute. You just said it matters. You just went on a diatribe saying that, basically trying to say that it did matter.
Okay.
Right?
Should
I mean, isn't that your point here? So the question then comes back to, okay, why don't we know?
I'm not sure how the law applies because I believe it's an active case.
Okay. What about the case in Las Vegas?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. This is what I'm worried about when it comes to this Alex Jones situation. How many times have we made an off-color joke? You know, like, we have said some pretty fucked up shit in comparison to Alex Jones. That's all I'm saying. You know, like, step into the oven. You know, that type of shit.
MD, you're going to get your channel struck down.
But no, that's really what I'm worried about, though.
I like cookies.
Good.
But no, that's what I'm worried about, is because we have said some pretty out there shit just joking around. If you look at it in context, it wasn't really that bad. If you just take the fucking clip, you know, a dragon bite, if you will, memes. I saw that new series you're doing over on your channel. You can make us look pretty fucking horrible. I mean, how many times has MC said we should nuke California, for example?
Not often. He's usually playing big rock for California, but he has said nuke a number of places over in the Middle East.
Hey, CSG.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hello.
What I have said is that if we'd have dropped one nuclear weapon in Kandahar 3 days after 9/11, none of this other crap would have been happening right now.
That's fair, but it is genocide.
It's not genocide.
It kind of is. It's killing
How
millions
is it
of people.
You're killing.
You're not going to kill millions. You're going to kill thousands. I'll grant you that. But it's not genocide. It's war. And it's not an extermination.
What about all the extra people?
What do you mean the extra people? What extra people?
What about all that are nothing to do with what's going on?
To say that is ridiculous.
No, it's an excellent point.
No,
there's always going to be.
The problem is that culture, and you said they're not a part of that culture. No, they are a part of that culture.
Not part of the culture. I said they weren't part of the ideology, or at least I meant they weren't part of the ideology. To say that you should kill people because of a particular religion or because they're in a particular area that certain people of that religion feel a certain way is ridiculous.
No, but they're the support element for that group, and you're trying to wipe out the support element as well.
Because they pay taxes? Because I'm pretty sure most of those women and children that would die in that atomic blast and fallout didn't raise a hand or a firearm to hurt any one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they sit up there and gave the guys who did the weapons and the means to do it, didn't they?
The United States gave them the goddamn weapons.
No, they did not.
Don't drone me, bro.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. And this goes right back to the same thing. I understand what you guys are trying to say. And we all want to sit up there and save the children and all be worried about everything else. But it goes back to what is war and how does war have to be fought? And war is decided by the aggressor. The aggressor in this case decided to sit up there and target intentionally civilians.
Do we know who the aggressor is?
Yes.
Even worse. No, it's not their culture. Even better, it's a case. It's not their culture. If it was their culture, they've got 1 billion people around the world. If it was their culture, we'd be fucked.
No. When I talk about I'm talking about the Arabic culture. I'm not talking about the Muslim or Islam as a religion. I'm talking about the frickin' culture, the Islamic culture that exists within the Arabic communities in those areas, the Middle East.
Okay. There's still over 100 million people that are in that particular aspect.
There are that, and we need to go to war with them.
No.
Well, that was an option.
Then what you're failing to understand is that they've already declared war on us.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that we have to fight by their tactics, by killing women and children just to get to them.
You're not going to change their tactics. Then you're not going.
I'm not bothered about changing their tactics.
You're not going to win against their tactics. All right, or win against that and any other methodology.
No, you don't have to fight their war by their tactics.
You don't have to, but you don't. Okay, so what tactics do you want to use that's going to guarantee to win?
That guaranteed the win. A lot more airstrikes and a lot more boots on the ground and actually going door to door and actually sorting things out properly.
Okay,
rather than...
so airstrikes are just going to inevitably kill mass amounts of people.
No, airstrikes don't kill. Airstrikes and drone strikes don't kill massive amount of people. They're actually quite pinpointed. But you missed the other point that I was actually saying, and you have boots on the ground that can actually distinguish between the actual people when you call in the airstrikes. Okay, you don't just call in airstrikes.
How many troops are we talking?
Never messed up.
Sorry?
And how long do they have to stay there for?
How long? Until the war's done. If you're going to go on to the process of war.
Yes. Okay, so forever, when you're talking about the war on terror, the war on just a fucking ideal.
No, you're talking. No, I mean, you're not. You're talking about the war on ISIS. You're talking about the war on ISIS, or you're talking about the war on Al Qaeda. We don't fight Al Qaeda anymore because we got rid of Osama bin Laden. Yes, there's another Muslim ideology that's in place, but it's not the same.
Okay, what's the difference between them?
The difference is the difference is where they actually are. Difference is.
I didn't boot him, did I? I'm sorry.
No.
Isn't that dropped out? See what I think was kind of going on is like MC kind of like you're saying kind of the same thing as what Mr. Ogre had been saying earlier, but he's like, you know what we need? We need a good war and stuff. And I said, that is an option because a severe traumatic emotional moment like a 9/11, like a Pearl Harbor, that is going to ingrain into a moment and get a lot of folks of a particular common circle there together to fight against it. So when you're saying the argument of basically using nuclear weapons, could that be an option? That could be an option. Maybe it would have solved. Maybe things would be completely different. I guarantee you they would be completely different. But here's the thing. I prefer to avoid genocide. And the reason I say that is because if you boil it down to a low resolution analysis, all right, how did 9/11 happen? You had more of a bourgeoisie Saudi son basically go out there, end up forming a group, and ended up having some fetishism with bringing down the Twin Towers. They tried it before in 93, they failed, and then you had a group of individuals commit a crime that, let's face it, a lot of us weren't expecting this to happen. I remember when they first announced it at school, and they're saying a plane's crashed into the World Trade Center. I remember seeing something last year, the year before that, about like a Cessna crashing into the Empire State Building. Oh, it was a flight accident, everybody survived, and then all of a sudden they came on like 40 minutes later and like, a second plane has crashed, and it's like, oh, what's going on? You put on the TV, dude. That is something that brings folks together. How the hell do you avoid that? It's just
okay. Well, hold on a second, because what were you said it was just a small little group, all right? And where did that small little group? Where was their base of operation?
I don't recall.
Okay.
Afghanistan. What happened in Afghanistan with this quote unquote small little group?
Yeah, let's not forget, where were most of the people from? All right, so that might have been the training camp, but where were they from exactly? So I think that's more significant than where did they go training.
That has absolutely nothing to do, all right, with how the Taliban and the Afghan leadership reacted. Absolutely not.
No, but it has something to do with the ideology being pushed towards the Westerners and then getting them trained and to go to those type of camps and those ideologies.
Well, who was doing training and stuff? Where were the trainings taking place at?
Yes, but doing the training. Sorry, go on, Cabbage.
So I was going to say it was Wahhabist backed. I mean, we know who
you have the idea of Wahhabism from a religious standpoint, true, but you've also got where were they being trained? What areas were training these terrorists?
Yes, but
what areas have absolute training camps and are still conducting them today?
Can I quickly answer that? Do you know where they were first trained, where they were first radicalized? In the West.
Osama bin Laden was first radicalized in the West.
No, the people. No. Don't try and misquote what I'm saying. You're saying that people that go out to the training get trained in those particular areas. That's true. The people that also get radicalized first start getting radicalized in the West because of what Cabbage actually said, because they have Wasabi actually backed mosques that actually perpetuate that ideology.
There are homegrown groups. That's very true.
Yes,
but
you see,
the reality is that you also have a support element. All right.
Yeah, I understand.
And that support element is the Middle East.
I get you, MC. Yes, but you've got to. I mean, surely the biggest concern is where the people who are willing to act upon their convictions come from, as opposed to where they go to get trained.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's all the polls say. It's all the whole thing. It's not just. If you take a look at what's going on in Syria right now, all right, and what was fighting in there, where were most of those people coming from? You can look at what's going on in Germany. Were they coming from Saudi Arabia? No.
Can I ask a question, MC? Can I ask a question quickly? Mm-hmm. If, for instance, the camps weren't in the Middle East, say, for instance, they were in Germany, or say, for instance, they were in Scandinavia, and everybody from the Middle East was coming to Scandinavia or Germany, does that mean that we should bomb Scandinavia and Germany instead?
Yes, exactly. If they were freaking providing that kind of support and training them to attack the United States, you're damn right we should.
But wouldn't you attack the source first? Because it's the source you need to deal with. The camps you can deal with at your leisure.
Incorrect, and here's why. All right, the source in this case are just weapons. These people were just basically being trained to be weapons. Okay, you've got to take out the support and take out the ability for them to become weapons. And that's not necessarily easy to do. I understand.
The way of becoming weapons would be to go to the place where they were being weaponized, which would be the countries of origin.
They weren't
just would not be the countries that are being trained.
They weren't. They can be. You can have whatever radical thoughts that you want. If you can't sit up there and get to a country to fly the plane into something, then it doesn't matter, does it?
Go ahead, CSG.
Well, hang on, then you've got to blow yourselves up, because apparently the people who flew the planes got trained in America.
No, some of the airplane trainings got trained in America.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were being trained as terrorists to take those planes was not being done in America, Cabbage, and you know that.
A majority of the fellows basically were of Saudi origin. They received a number of their cell-based training in Afghanistan, and then they infiltrated the United States. Did have a bunch of aviation training over here. So it kind of sounds like between MC and Cabbage, they're kind of arguing about which is a more important variant of their circle or an intersect, if you would. Would it be their country of origin or where they received their training? It sounds like MC is coming from more of a military training standpoint, and Cabbage is going from like hey, this is where you're originally from. And technically, if you go historically, if somebody was a national, they committed something, then you basically had like the Secretary of State and folks trying to hash things out. Otherwise, you might have war. Like, wasn't that how like World War I or something started?
Okay, but one, not everybody came from frickin' Saudi Arabia. Two, if you take a look at
18
other,
out of
hold on
19.
a second. If you take a look at what's going on with terrorism as this group of terrorism around the world, all right, they're not all coming from there. They're coming from Syria. They're coming from Pakistan, has a major element to it.
Yep.
Afghanistan is a major element to it. Iran is a major element to it. And Iraq
Can we
used
get
to be,
back on
and
topic?
it's not now.
MC, I'm not disagreeing that you should take out the camps, obviously, but what I'm saying is that surely one of the most important things you should do is to stop the weaponizing of the people, because then you won't, the camps will become less relevant to begin with, but then you can take them out at your heart's content.
But the only
No
way to
matter
do
where
that
they're
would be
coming
to
from.
completely do what common sense guy says, right? Which is to take American forces and frickin' put us everywhere on the ground for frickin' year after year after year.
No, that's not what I was suggesting, actually, to be honest with you, my friend.
Like that.
No, I wasn't suggesting that at all, actually, to be honest. I was actually suggesting something very, very different. And I'll just quickly point out what I was actually suggesting. I was actually suggesting that if you're going to try and bomb all of these places, then it's actually a case of you might want to think that if you bomb these places, then the people that are in different areas that are Muslim, that have sympathies towards these people, are then going to form different training camps in different areas to form that ideology. The only way you stop terrorism is by destroying the ideology, not by destroying the people.
Right, but in order to stop the ideology the way that you're prescribing it in this case means occupation.
No, it means education.
You can't educate them without occupying them. They will
you don't
not
have to
allow you to go in there to educate them. You can already see that.
Are we seriously talking about re-education camps now?
No, I'm not talking about re-education camps. For
It
fuck's
walks like
sake.
a duck and
Yes.
squeaks like a duck, or Cabbage's chair.
About
Seriously,
time.
that's what it sounds like.
No, I'm not talking about.
Well, you said
not-
education, and these guys have already been.
I said re-educate, as in making sure they're not radicalized.
Yes, and they've already been Son of a bitch. They've already been educated to become terrorists, so they will have to be re-educated, re-brainwashed to become a quote-unquote.
You can't
member of
re-brainwash someone to think normally, Sharati. You can't re-brainwash
My
somebody to not be a
point
terrorist.
my point exactly.
Bullet.
Why don't you just give them a better path?
There is no better path for a fucking terrorist.
Why
Oh,
not?
let's bomb them all then. Let's bomb them all and let's destroy them all and let's kill half of the population for no reason otherwise.
I remember 4 dudes from Gitmo opened a
I
restaurant.
never once said that.
So why are you
Okay.
suggesting it then when you said there's no other path, Sharati?
Well, no.
You cannot re-educate a terrorist, goddammit.
Yes, you can.
They-
You can re-educate anybody and teach them what they actually need to think or what they should think.
Why don't you just
Well,
give them a
bottom-line little
better
bastards.
incentive and just humanity?
Well, that would be a good idea, Memes. It would be a good idea.
How do we get there?
By talking.
I
By
Send-
destroying
is it
the
better that I
ideology
hear
itself.
crickets? Because I hear crickets in the background right now. I'm not sure from
You
where.
probably-
Fucking
he probably-
moaning about noises. Fuck, if it's not chairs, it's crickets. What is your
No,
problem?
he probably does hear crickets. They're coming from my house.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why. No, I said that and then I heard crickets. I'm like, that's very fitting. I
Yeah.
giggled a little.
Talking with them isn't going to work.
Well,
You're
So let's
talking
just
about-
bomb them all then.
But it is
No.
indoctrination. I mean,
You have to sit up there and get them to the point where they're willing to talk.
Yes, by throwing nuclear weapons at them.
You
as
hit
say.
one with a nuclear weapon, I guarantee they'll be a lot more willing to talk and listen, than won't they?
No, as soon as they're invading Iraq and
Okay, so that's
Afghanistan, that
just
worked
stupid.
well.
so rather than bashing Samir's legs in, is there a better path?
Well, once again, you tell me.
Nuclear weapons
When we
is
went into
stupid.
Afghanistan and Iraq, let's be brutally honest. We didn't do it the way that I'm suggesting doing it, because I'm not talking about putting boots on the ground, am I?
No, you're
And we-
suggesting
and
of
we
blowing a
didn't
whole
go in.
country up
Hold
for a
on a
majority
second.
of people.
No, we didn't go in, all right, and bomb the holy crap out of them the way you're talking about. No, we were doing selected strikes, like you were suggesting, and we had boots on the ground, like you were suggesting. And what was the result? we couldn't sustain it. Why couldn't we sustain it? Because the public wouldn't let us sustain us, wouldn't let us do it over any long-term period of time that it's going to take in order to get there.
Because it's bloody expensive.
Well, it's expensive, but that's not why the public didn't do it. The public didn't do it because you have leftist radical fifth columnists that are bound and determined to do everything it can to sit up there and disrupt the United States.
So now you're suggesting stopping leftists from having a point of view?
How about we drop leftists on them?
About having
well, no. MC, I think you have said this is a war and we need to crush the other side.
This is a war that there is. When I talk about that from a perspective.
No. I'm not talking about like hyperbolic, basically like in the media and stuff, because I think we've had this argument before.
Actually, Trigglypuff would make a good bunker buster.
Jigglypuff?
You drop her on something.
What? Oh God, we're terrible people.
What I mean, let's take a look at it.
Young Pokemon.
We weren't even.
I know
we weren't even in Iraq, and we weren't even in Afghanistan before the leftists were already coming on television talking about. We just got to talk to them and just hear what they have to say. You had what was that? Richard Greer come on national television going, "I know it's not what people want to hear right now, but we really need to just talk."
All right. Here's the one observation I'll take here, and I think the majority of the people here will agree with this statement because I've asked some very more liberal in a U.S. perspective folks, and they tend to agree with me.
I actually disagree in advance then.
Well, that's fine. But what I was going to say is, typically on the left, they're terrible salespeople. Like, they are just not good at selling their idea. They're kind of just doing well, think of this. This is this. It's like, okay, you can do that, but lay it out in a way that actually makes sense rather than just appealing to somebody's emotions that may just normally disagree with you. Say it in a way that makes sense. Like, don't sit there and tell people what they want to hear. Tell them what they need to hear. Because I tend to think most folks are smart, and just if you lay it out in a way that makes sense to them, they're more receptive.
Okay, and what was the policy that they came back with that fit that criteria?
I have no idea. All I know is we were blowing up a lot of people, and a lot of folks died.
It hasn't changed a single goddamn thing.
No, because we're not doing it correctly. We're not doing it correctly.
Yeah, you know what?
One nuclear weapon. How many less people would have been killed if we'd have gone in there with one nuclear weapon?
But it's because we're not hitting the right people, which is the point I was making, is that you go to source. You go to the place where the people are being created. That's where you go if you want to get rid of them.
So you want to do it tactically. We should attack Mecca and Medina. Is that your attitude?
It's necessary, if that's where they are.
All right, so MC wants to throw Samir off the top of the Empire State Building. Cabbage wants to go after his two buddies.
Okay, wait a minute, though. When it comes to Afghanistan, we had a reason to go in there. They literally told us to go fuck ourselves. And if it's fuck me, then you know it's fuck you, too. So I'm okay with the Afghanistan war. Iraq is where I have the fucking issue. Once again, MC, I know you hate it. There was no WMDs, brother.
And that's a lie. And if you keep lying because you want that lie and it makes you feel good, as long as you can continue to lie to yourself without actually looking at the fact that there was chemical weapons there, that they were deployed in now not the mass uses, all right, but we have troops that's freaking suffered from it, and we're suffering from weapons of mass destruction even to this day. And if you keep coming back and telling me no, what service are you doing to the guys who freaking suffered that attack?
You know, if there was no Gulf War, there'd be no Gulf War syndrome. You understand? Like, we had no business going in there the first time, much less the second.
Well, once again, Mad Dodge, it still goes back to the same thing. You're willing to continue to lie. You're willing to carry that lie because it makes it easier for you then to come back and say, well, there's no reason to go there. Even though when we came out and we listed, there were 17 specific reasons, and not all of them were weapons of mass destruction of why we were going to war for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, MC, just one question. What proof do you have that they did have weapons of mass destruction, and where are they now?
Well, first of all, the fact that we've got chemical troops that are suffering from chemical weapons, all right, in Walter Reed is a really good example. Okay.
Yeah, but that still doesn't prove that they had the chemical weapons, does it? Or they even used it.
They didn't have the mass stockpiles. And what's more is, if you're asking where are they now and where are they all, right? You can go back to what we were talking about right before the war, where we were saying, hey, what are all these trucks that were running across the Syrian border?
So, in a moment of levity, so MD, thank you for bringing up the whole FU, and escalation of things to bring this back around, because weren't we talking about Alex Jones getting banned?
Yeah, and how we're much worse than Alex, and so I'm a little worried.
Are we? Well, yes, I suppose we are. Yes,
Well,
yes,
we're
of course we
actually
are.
calling for mass
Silly
genocide.
Yeah, well.
Well,
I'm not talking about mass genocide. You guys keep talking about
You're
saying
talking about nuking a fucking country.
war
about
is
nuking
hell.
a city. And there's a reason you have to do it. You guys want to play, we just killed this person, we're going to kill that person, we're going to kill this person, which we've been doing for how many decades? And what's the result?
I thought the whole point of all this enormous budget that the military was getting was that everything would have become so precise and that we'd know everything, and the information and, everything was going to be so, is going to be clinical. Whatever happened to the clinical war?
Well, we're not in a war situation where you're fighting freaking standard war. You're fighting a different style of warfare, and people don't want to recognize that kind of warfare.
So what you're saying is we need a better definition of winning.
No, the definition of winning is still the same. We stop getting attacked.
No, he's suggesting that we blow up a city with a nuclear weapon.
From a cultural standpoint, if we just sit up there and blown up Kandahar, would we have been in Iraq? Would we have needed to go into Iraq at all?
Well,
for a start, we don't know that. For a start, MC, we don't know that. It could have made it fucking worse, mate.
We do know this. We do know the fact that by not doing it, Saddam Hussein felt like he had no reason to not sit up there and listen to
the fine, but if we did do as we did,
he does have a point.
If we did do it, you can't tell me that Saddam Hussein wouldn't have been worried about a nuclear strike.
Yeah, but I mean,
then he would have attacked more.
Yeah,
you're not dealing with some.
Attack more with what?
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but you're not dealing with somebody who was actually, should we say, clinically sane at that point, trying to take on fucking America in the fucking first place. So why do you think that? Oh, a nuclear weapon. All you do is draw more people into his cause. You create more sympathy for his fucking cause. That's
the Western philosophical way of looking at it. That's not the way they look at it.
It's human philosophy.
No, it's not just human. Okay, you got to understand how they themselves, especially that culture, reacts to power. They don't respect anything but power.
No, this is the argument that was used with China. Well, they only respond to
Basically, MC's method is the Lord Zed method. He's firing up Serpentera. He's launching it at the full ranges, that overwhelming force. But I'm hoping, like Serpentera, it always runs out of power before it can destroy everything. Hashtag gamer theory.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Ogre.
Hashtag sad man.
Hi.
Yeah, but the thing also, don't you think that I mean, who was it who sat in front of Congress and talked about blowback? The blowback that would have occurred with the people who were actually in the country. I mean, you could do that. You could nuke somewhere, but you'd have to intern all the local, Islamics before you did it, because, you would have no idea what
the reason that the main reason that they're attacking us right now is because they think we're weak and we can be had.
The thing is about going in too strong, though, mate, is that you create sympathy for their cause.
I realize that that's a danger, especially in the Western world, where the United States would have been condemned roundly. But I'm not worried about getting condemned by the Western world. What actions were frickin' France going to take? What actions were Germany going to take? Were they going to sit up there and say, all right, we're going to level sanctions against the United States?
No, you need to understand that, as Cabbage was already alluding to, what about the Islamists that are already in your country?
They only respect power. The reason they're attacking us is the main reason is because they think we're weak.
You do realize, my friend, that they have had Muslims themselves and Middle Easterns that have caliphates for thousands upon thousands of years. They are a warring people.
They are a warring people, and if they worry about getting exterminated,
hang on, sir. Which means that if you attack them directly, they will have more people fall to their cause and will attack you independently and internally.
Hold on, wait a second. CSG, are you saying they're a warrior race? So they're Saiyans?
They are Saiyans.
Please,
they are the Saiyans.
We can't give them the Zenkai piece. We can't.
Yeah, can you stop doing the bullshit references?
If you don't end up destroying it, it will destroy you. Here's the thing. Is there a better way? Maybe if we could all follow the principle of kings and judge a man not by the color of his skin, but the
talking about there's a better way. You keep talking again and again about there being a better way, and you have yet to tell us what it is.
We
so instead of going, is there a better way? Why don't you find out what it is?
I'll tell you what it is. Leave them the fuck alone.
Well, I say quarantine.
That we're weak, they will attack us.
Well, here's what we do.
They think that we're weak, they will attack us, Mad Dodge. It's not. They're not going to attack us because I'm sorry. We're peaceful now.
Well, there you go. Exactly. Okay. In which case, then blow up Mecca. Simple. Blow the shit. Turn Mecca. Turn that little meteorite into vaporize.
This is where I differentiate because I don't look at it as the problem being.
Then the entire world turns against us.
I look at it as specifically to the Arab culture in general. The way they've reacted in the past is that if they will settle down as soon as you get serious about frickin' wiping them from the face of the earth. And when they see that, they go, you know what? We're going to call Nojoy and put an end to it.
Yeah, but you see,
North Korea.
The one element you don't seem to be taking into account with this is, number one, it's the religious aspect of it, which is, I mean, kind of like, it's also like the evangelicals, that they want the end of the, they're looking forward to the end times or whatever. So they, they're looking forward to the Armageddon. So, I mean, if you can bring it forwards for them, then it's a good thing.
Unfortunately, there's an aspect of that you could be right about, but I'm willing to do it mildly just to see whether or not we can avoid having to do that, because that will be the only solution afterwards.
I think mushroom clouds are not the most mild of means there, and that's where I think we have the difference here.
And they're a fuck of a slice, honestly.
Give me your other mild means that are going to stop it then. Because I haven't seen you come up with a solution.
Well, let me propose a solution, see what the panel thinks. So with Secretary Bolton in his position there, as well as what's going on, JJ? How we doing?
So far, so good.
All right, man. All right. Let me just wrap my point and we can get your thoughts. So basically, MC, here's what I'd say. We would promote you to, basically the head of the army. We would put you in there, and just the sheer fact that MC would essentially be the Secretary of Defense. Hearing half the shit I heard right now, I'd be terrified as hell. I think that might be enough.
Yeah, but that wasn't a solution, really. I mean,
an actual solution.
A solution. I just say quarantine the whole fucking area. I mean, anywhere which is Islamic. I mean, I include Jerusalem with this as well, because they're nothing but fucking trouble.
What, are you going to throw
London
in there too? London.
London. I wouldn't mind doing that too. Absolutely. Quarantine the whole fucking areas. Nothing in, nothing out. Simple as that. So then. I mean, it won't stop the problem necessarily, but it'll certainly internalize it, because these fuckers constantly, they're more than happy to kill each other if they have nobody else to kill. So let them do it.
Well, why do they want to kill people?
Well,
religious differences.
Yeah,
we all know
exactly.
it.
Yeah, it's factions.
Okay. Let's
tribalism.
The idea that that's a factor. Why is it that the majority of folks aren't doing it then, of that particular persuasion? Is there something going on with these particular folks? Are they in a very down spot in their life? Are they confronting a great deal of sin? Are they feeling compelled via what some folks are telling them, that by basically going out, you can be absolved of your sins?
You, man. If you want to, you'll be suggesting safe spaces for them. Fuck off. No, just quarantine them.
No.
Just
I'm saying you treat them like
area.
a human being. You look them in the eye. You sit down. You have a meal.
Yes, but you're looking at it from your perspective. You're not including the religious doctrine.
Well, and if they're so downtrodden, why are they trying to come to other people's countries and do this fifth pillar or whatever that I can't buy into all that.
They tread onto
nobody's downtrodden. I think that Cabby has the right idea. We need to just like blow some shit up and be done with them.
That's not what Cabby said. That's what MC said.
No, I said quarantine. He said blow it up. Actually, no, I didn't say. No, I didn't say Mecca.
Oh, so, misattributions would never go awry.
Either would be good, but I would probably prefer quarantine because we would have to murder a bunch of people. But the fact of the matter is, they don't listen.
But here's the thing, man, Mr. Ogre, where I have to disagree with you, that almost kind of sounds like an ethno state you're proposing.
Yes.
Well, you know I'm for an ethno state. You know I am. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Well, I think some folks here disagreed with that principle.
Yeah, very much so, but whatever.
Well, I can disagree with the principle, but realize that the way that we are right now, that most of us here, we could all live in the same neighborhood. And most of us here don't necessarily get along really super good, but we could all live in the same neighborhood, not murder each other. The problem is where we have these other people coming in our neighborhood that are bent on murder. Now they're talking about using biological weapons in San Francisco, man.
But
I mean, it's over with.
Let me propose this. What if some of these folks were folks you played World of Warcraft and you raided with?
Well, I don't want to kill them, all right? Everybody else.
Well, to be honest, why does it matter what they do on a computer game? The thing is, we're supposed to be if you're suggesting memes, that we're supposed to be finding humanity with them. Playing on a computer game doesn't necessarily make them show any sort of form of humanity. What you suggested before about breaking bread with them and understanding their ideology, fair enough. You have a kind of an argument there. But for everybody else, sorry,
he's just being a dick. Honestly, he just wants to bring in any kind of spurious references he can.
I am a dick.
Just to be an
my middle name, literally.
Yeah. Richard.
Oh, hey, Cabbage.
Well, Richard.
This real quick?
Oh, sorry, JJ. No. Hey, Cabbage, let the man speak.
Hey, somebody turn that kid up. I can't hear him. Jacob.
All right, yeah. Better?
You shut up.
Is this better? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so the whole thing I'll be hearing is go over there and deal with it, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this. Why are so many over here in these Western countries?
Because one, they want to get away from the wars that are already happening and different conflicts.
We also have cable.
I'm telling you, infiltrators, or at least some of them. Yeah, hashtag not all. I know.
No, I mean, I understand the point that he was making. Is he's saying that it's a direct response? I mean, the blowback argument, that's going to happen. That you're going to have the only effect of immigration now is because of the wars that are happening. We are, the wars are displacing people, but that doesn't mean you have to bring them into your own countries. Better that they get displaced into a culture that they can reassimilate into afterwards, rather than take them into a completely foreign environment in which they're not going to be able to function and are going to effectively be like a third class citizen. That doesn't make any sense, and especially when it'd be cheaper to keep them in in the regions that they're already in. If you could just get them to a safe environment.
Well, Jacob, you just need to talk over them a little bit. He'll eventually stop.
Shut down the NGOs. That's how you MC.
All right.
I kind of missed the point, Jacob, but I was trying to follow you, brother.
All right, so here's the thing. Even though I hear, go and deal with it. Go and deal with it. But the thing is, the more we go and do that, the more we're going to cause to become homeless, right? We're talking about bombings, we're talking about intervention, we're talking about placing troops on the ground. What's that going to accomplish? Because we've done this time after time, and we see what happens. They leave their countries, and they move into the West. And what happens? They go and wreck shit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, you're talking about displacement, right?
Yeah. So for
they were displaced from Saudi Arabia?
No.
Weren't you the one that was always preaching about the whole thing? They were displaced from Saudi Arabia on 9/11?
No, I said you should attack the place where the people came from, not the place where they were trained.
Well, no, but these people weren't displaced, and they still came over here, didn't they? So that argument is not accurate.
Well, no, they weren't displaced from Saudi Arabia. They chose to leave Saudi Arabia to go and get trained in Afghanistan. And then, because I mean, so when was the last time Saudi Arabia was invaded by the West? That's not displacement.
Hold on, guys. There's something else you're missing here. All right, they leave, they come into here. It's like after the whole war shit and all, got their homes blown up, right? Then what happens eventually over the years? They start to see, hey, if we go over here, shit at home is a fucking mess. If we go over there, they're gonna give us benefits, right? That's what they've been doing for years. And start doing right now, right?
Yeah, economic migrants.
All right. Yeah. And that's just a result of what's been happening, right?
It's what we've allowed to be the result of that. Yeah, but it didn't have to be that way.
It didn't have to be. So, as unfavorable as it might seem, it's definitely I would say the best thing to do. Close off the borders. Close them off.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And I just hear me out, all right? You're probably gonna freak out, but deport all those that we have in all the Western countries. It sounds easier said than done. It's not that it can be done. All right, just get them back over there. It's where they were from originally. Even some that may not want to go, we're gonna have to, because the more time we waste just letting them sit here, they're gonna cause some more damage.
Okay, what happens then with Black Lives Matter? Do you deport all the blacks too?
Hey, we're so far one issue at a time, all right?
I'm just wondering how far you want to extend that theory, that's all.
Yeah, right theory. Principle, it's a grounding kind of mechanic of how you want to run things.
I'm just, right now, just giving a possible answer for one solution, all right? For one possible, what do you call it? One possible problem, all right? What is a problem? Well, we have a problem. A lot of terrorists, right?
Yeah, the closing of the borders, that you propose is a great idea. Deporting everybody that is from a particular country, not so much.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be that way, because look at these people. Again, look where they're coming from. Look who they're getting through.
Yeah, but I hate to say it, my friend. I hate to say it, but not all. And if it was all, we'd all be fucked.
You could go ahead and say not all. But again, look at their doctrine. You can go ahead and say, yes, not all of them. At the same time, that's where they're being bred in. That's what these terrorists are getting coming from. That's where they're coming from this culture, right? Are they not?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, Islam is not a good thing.
Of course,
it definitely isn't. And if
close
you get
out the borders,
it is a cancer.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that, but that doesn't mean that I'm sure people would agree that we would actually not deport everybody that is a Muslim, because you do realize that there are also a lot of people that are actually from the native country and from the countries you were talking about that have converted to
Islam. Yeah, but mostly what we see is mostly Arabics. Yes or no? Yes or no? Is it mostly Arabics?
Oh, of course, yeah.
I would have to say yes, obviously.
Well, I mean, not necessarily Arabic. I mean,
Arabics, Middle Eastern, we're going to call it, all right?
We've got a lot of Pakistanis over here. Yeah, well,
of descent.
No, I would say no, Islamic descent.
Right, yes.
It's the religion. That's the problem.
All right, yeah.
You Islamophobic.
So, sure. All right, look. Again.
Hey, listen, when things start blowing you up, you've got a good reason to be afraid of it, right? That's not a phobia.
True.
And as far as what happens over there, let them deal with their own stuff. Because all this intervention is what caused all this mess.
Well, Jacob brings up a really big point. It's like, what happens? One person does something, they attack another. What does it lead to? It leads to pretty much a cycle of violence, right?
Yeah, we already have enough problems on its own, don't we not?
No, I'm curious. What are your thoughts? How do we break this cycle?
Again, we stop this intervention. Especially, as much as some might not like it, we've had the U.S. We've had a good part to play in all this mess. We might not have been the only ones, but we had a big part in this, did we not?
Well, most westernized countries did. Most westernized countries had a part to play in it.
Yeah.
Well, France. I also blame France.
Yeah.
But
yeah, at the same time, look how good that's been doing, right? What good has that been doing? So far, the only ones who seem to be doing anything seems like to be Russia, a couple other Middle Eastern countries. They seem to be doing a good job of keeping these terrorist countries at bay, right? Again,
And
deport
Well,
them.
no, and what exactly can they do to the United States? I mean, really, is Iran a real fucking threat to the United States of America? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see
I don't
the
think they can
Arabian Navy
invade.
Yeah.
turning up anytime soon on the shores
Again,
of
Again,
New
I
York.
don't really care about Iran, Iraq, where you call it. So far, I don't see much a threat for them, but we see a threat from the people that are coming over there for these Middle Eastern countries, right?
Oh yeah, because it's guerrilla warfare. That's the problem. It's not a full-on. You know, it's not like a good old-fashioned trench warfare.
We're not battling a nation. We're battling
Yeah, we're not.
this group association of folks.
We're battling an ideology.
Of course. And again, mostly
Well,
comes from
how
these
do we
Arabics.
get rid of
It
the
comes from
ideology then?
It's
think
not going to
CSG
die
has
out.
something.
It's not going to die. That's the thing. Ideologies never really die out. It takes time, lots of time. But again, it's always going to be there.
Ideologies
CSG
don't die out. Ideologies don't die out. All they do is change. No, all they do is change. For instance, everybody would say that the idea of Nazism is completely and utterly dead. Now, I would agree that none of us here are obviously Nazis, and there aren't the actual idea of Nazis. But the ideology and the people that do follow it, as many as small as it is, still do follow it. Changing and getting rid of the ideology that way will not get rid of the ideology. The only way you're going to do that, if you're going down that road, is by talking to them and re-educating.
That's by re-education camps.
I want the re-education. I'm pushing it.
All right, you're not gonna get them to re-educate anyway, because again, you're got to look at this. What we believe in the West is different from how they see things over in the Middle East. What
You do realize that
it's different.
You do realize that most terrorists, not all, but most terrorists that happen are actually second or third generation from immigrants. You do realize that,
yeah, I get that. Who did they learn
which
from?
means that they were brought up.
Which
means that they were brought up in westernized values. Which means they were brought up with westernized people.
From their Muslim grandparents, from Muslim fathers and mothers who have loyalty not there, but loyalty to their personal group.
It's also by the other.
What do these folks have that are doing these bad things?
Which is Islam, and they don't even have to get taught it from and they don't have to get taught it by their parents. They can get taught it by the imams. You know, these filled imams and the mosques. So
They
grew up in that, right? Did they not grow up in that belief?
But why are they following this path? Like, what is the commonality between along the folks that are specifically following that particular
religious
path?
doctrine?
Well, they get radicalized. They get radicalized either on the internet or by the imams that are actually in the mosques.
Why are we not seeing even more? Like, there has to be something else, that there's a commonality why they choose a similar path.
Yeah, but it's like saying, well, I mean, there's plenty of different dysfunctions that happen with people that drive them into alternative lifestyles, shall we say.
All right, so that was me talking right now, right? About it? Was that me talking right now about it?
Yeah. No, that was me, and then Cabbage.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right, got a little bit confused right there. All right, so I'm not too sure about Europe, all right? Because as far as I can tell, Europe is having a lot more problems than over here in the United States. The reason over here in the United States are not saying as much because we actually are able to defend ourselves. Maybe not in the majority of the states, but a lot of states we can defend ourselves. We can.
Sorry, I have to disagree with you on that. Not because that you can't defend yourself. The reason why it's bad in Europe is because of immigration, not because we can't defend ourselves.
Hold on. You're going to go down that road, man, because as far as I can tell, majority of Europe don't even have guns. They don't have guns.
No, but that doesn't stop people running vans into kebab shop places because they think that there's a child sex ring that's going on. The populace themselves will defend themselves regardless of what people think and say. Yes.
Really? Because
there's lots of people that do that.
They have the edge on y'all. They already have their own things to kill y'all with. And what are y'all doing? Are y'all really defending yourselves? Because more and more people are dying as far as I can tell, the governments of Europe over there are preventing your people from even doing anything, right?
Yeah,
what
I'm
we're
not
saying-
talking about the government. Go on.
Yeah, but at the same time,
Yeah, but Joseph, what we're
farther
saying
on.
is that, right, if you were carrying, if you had an open carry with a 45 on your hip, right, and a truck of peace suddenly came barreling down the road, it's not going to do you a lot of good, right?
It's not going to do you a lot of
With
good.
all,
At the same
not
time,
with all the best
you
will
could
in the
still
world.
you could possibly kill that guy. Could you not?
Yeah, and he's still going to run you over with the
Wait,
momentum of the truck.
Well, no. That is a particular example. But to bring up another particular example that might bolster a little bit of Jacob's point there, was there not an attempted terrorist attack in Texas that ended up being foiled?
Actually, no, he is
Yeah.
correct because, though weirdly enough, it was on a police officer, and the police officer wasn't armed, and that was on, the Tower Bridge one that happened, and the a police officer ended up getting stabbed. Now, if he'd have been armed, then yes, I think that would have been prevented. Yes.
Because I
But
believe the attack on the convention in Texas, I believe it was an off-duty police officer that happened to have a firearm.
Yeah.
And I believe he saw it, and they had gotten word or something, and when they were trying and attempting and readying, they stopped it.
I think the policeman in Westminster was too busy doing his paperwork, trying to work out whether it was a hate crime or it was just an expression of freedom. While he was being stabbed, so well, can I take down the details of this particular assault? We need to have it classified so we don't offend anybody.
If you're going to go that route, do like in Boston, just get the body cams then. It's like, all right,
I've already got those.
What happened to an extent. So at least if an officer is accused of something, he also has a way to protect himself. If they do something shitty, it's also going to get caught.
Yes, I know. I was being satirical. I wasn't.
Yeah,
being
I
meant
was
to be
going
taken
to say.
seriously.
I was going to say, Cabbage is being absolutely satirical because he already knows that the police officer he's talking about obviously was killed from that. He actually died from it, especially the one outside the palace. So he's actually joking about the process of what the cops are in our country. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, that's the reason he ended up getting stabbed. He was trying to decide whether or not, that's why he didn't defend himself. But he didn't have a gun anyway, so, but that was also in. Never mind, you got to explain a joke. It really isn't funny anymore.
Try harder, Cabbage.
Boy, do you have a license for that butter knife?
Yeah.
No, but I do for my potato peeler.
Yes.
Okay,
You do?
can you guys hear me? I'm back again.
Well, no, a receipt does not classify as a license.
Fuck.
Yeah, MC, we can hear you.
Okay, what did I miss?
Oh, well.
Oh, you
I
missed the
don't know.
lesbian dance. God, we had a whole burlesque thing on. You missed
No.
it. Oh.
What a shame.
Cabbage is referring to himself.
So you remember,
Just put a burlesque show on Bad
Yeah.
So MC, you remember the scene where Lancelot goes to rescue the maiden in Monty Python?
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
Oh, okay.
Too much Carol. That's the problem.
You have to build a castle 3 times. But well, here's the thing. Just to finish up, kind of what Jacob was
First
saying
castle.
there. No. We were basically saying like hatred begots hatred, and okay, one person's justice is another person's pain, and once that happens, the other side will use immense measures, and they will continue to. You're going to continue the cycle onward. And how do you do that? Because here's the thing: if you got someone up against the wall, what's the natural response? I want to kill you. And once I kill you, I will restore justice.
I don't know. It
But then
depends
one
whether
person's justice to another
how pretty you
is
are.
their downfall. It destroys them. How do you end that cycle?
Well, no, memes. What I think you're trying to
Nuclear
say.
weapons is what was necessary to end that cycle in Japan.
What I think you're trying to say is one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Fuck you, Jeremy Corbyn. Fuck you.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing. I go harken back to Sonic Saturday AM. You had the freedom fighters there. According to Dr. Robotnik, they were a bunch of terrorists. They were always destroying this shit. He had a very oppressive roboticizer and oppressing and making little fuzzy animals as slaves. And essentially, well, yeah, that kind of does wrap it up in a lot. I would have read all of the Pain Naruto speech, CSG.
Yeah.
Because
Yes,
if you
I'm
actually
sure
go
you would.
through that, that explains a lot. Oh my God, I offended him.
You see, no, you just why do you bring this shit up? It's it's totally fucking
Because it
irrelevant.
applies if you actually go through
No,
it.
it
with an open
doesn't. Yeah,
eye.
but nobody. It's a reference
Change
that
a
nobody
few
gives a
words,
shit
and
about, and it's only for
It's
your
a
own.
reference from an anime, which is a
I know.
child's view of the world.
It's also one of the greatest stories
it's
ever
pathetic.
told.
Yeah, well, whatever it is,
It's
it's
a
totally irrelevant.
child's view of the world. Are you think you're going to
Anime.
solve these things
Magna.
with a
Magna.
child's view of
Can't
the
say that
world?
word.
Fucking hell. Honestly, it's like talking to fucking Knuckles.
I know the way.
You know, I'm just gonna start fucking clucking at you. Yeah.
I like Hyper
There you
Knuckles, but I
go.
prefer
Yeah, I
Ultra
know you
Sonic.
do. Yeah. Well,
Super
you know,
Sonic.
you become really redundant
Excuse me,
at certain
Hypersonic.
points.
I misformed him.
Yeah. Well, you become redundant at certain points.
It's
All right, do we wanna
memetics,
get
man.
back to Alex Jones?
No, it's not. It's just you trying to get a little fucking
I
wood for
apologize.
yourself.
I tried to turn it around
Pathetic.
about 25
Yeah,
minutes
and
ago, but
all it ever does is you just trying to fucking break up a good conversation. That's what always fucking happens.
Should we move on
Dick.
back to Alex Jones and leave this
Let's get back to
conversation
Alex
completely?
Jones. I got it sidetracked. It's my fault, everybody. Let's get back to Alex Jones where it began.
Yeah, well said. Mad Dodge, take control of your stream for a change.
Yes.
That's all I had to say.
No, I don't want to.
Fuck you guys.
Go ahead,
I'm
Matt.
going home.
come on again,
Well, no, let's bring it back around to Alex Jones and the idea that it's okay to deplatform people just because you don't necessarily agree with their political beliefs. Yeah, later. Do you? Okay, I hate Steve Shives, right? But I don't want him taken off of YouTube. You know what I mean?
Well, no,
To be fair,
it's a
Mad
really
Dodge, I
bad
couldn't actually
precedent.
hear you. All I heard was a baby cry. I couldn't hear a point that you were making at all.
Project.
I think his point was that he hates Steve Shives, but he doesn't want him deplatformed.
Yeah,
well said.
Yeah, and the thing is that this is a bad precedent. This is it really does prove where this is going. I mean, starting with the shadow banning and everything else, we're really seeing the escalation of the well, I think what is it? Paul Joseph Watson said it, the purge. You know, I mean, we've already seen purges. They've already had the the advertising, removed from all the channels. I mean, they couldn't. This thing's really happened in the last couple of years where they are ramping up the pressure on anyone of any kind of alternative perspective.
Cabbage and
The
MC.
good thing is,
CSG, let me just get this one point. I just really think that what we might see is you bring up a huge thing about the advertising. Because if somebody happened to be, let's say, a monopoly per se, rather than strictly breaking them up, why are they monopoly? Because they control so much involved with that business. If YouTube has to have the ability to do that as a platform, but if you have Google AdSense as well, doesn't that go back to like the whole Bell case where they broke up AT&T into the small because they had a number of local as well as the international long distance carriers? Like, wouldn't that not be a simple thing without having to destroy YouTube or necessarily make it a public utility? Wouldn't that be another option? Kind of separate the advertising. Basically, you have this much time before or after a video and you can fill it in with whoever you want.
There's plenty of ways it could be, especially with the advertising, that could be resolved. But I mean, with regards to Alex Jones and just deplatforming somebody, just removing him, just completely, I mean that. Well, it is unprecedented, right? I mean, this has never happened before.
Well, it definitely hasn't.
History.
Well, the good thing is they haven't started deporting people yet, so at least we got that going for us.
I'm glad you said yet.
It will come.
All right. But the other aspect of this is very simple, and that is, and I'm not trying to, well, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit, I guess. Twitter, YouTube, they are private companies. Are they truly a monopoly? Is it just a monopoly because we perceive it a monopoly because we do most of our, working on here? We do our live streams on here.
Fair comment. There are other platforms that people could move to. Then the advertising would move across with it.
Yeah, but the definition of a monopoly doesn't mean that they are the only platform. It means they monopolize the platform. you can quite easily say the best of this platform is YouTube. Who control YouTube? Alphabet. Who's the best search engine? Definitely Google. And so on and so forth throughout the rest.
Who owns
Don't hate on my
AdSense?
dog pile.
Yeah, it's it's a sticky one.
Well, okay. Let me ask a different question. What does YouTube provide?
Fuck all. I mean, a free platform.
Well, they provide storage and bandwidth.
Okay. Well, effectively,
As
yeah.
well as a
That's what you do.
partnership program.
Well, but they provide storage and bandwidth for live streams and other content, right? Content is what they're offering. Although they don't create the content, they provide a place where the content can be viewed and displayed.
They're effectively an agency. You sign up to work for the agency, and then you provide work for the agency, and then you get paid a pittance for it.
Yes, but if that was the case, you'd have some kind of recourse when they fuck you over, And
no, the agency just tells you to fuck off. The agency just tells you to fuck off.
They do, but they still have to give you back pay for the work you've done.
It depends on how they codify the policy.
Well, they at least have to tell you why, right? What you've done wrong. And really, in that regard, I kind of agree with Cabbage that the biggest problem that I have isn't that with like what's happening to Alex Jones isn't so much that they're kicking off this person or that person or anything else. My biggest problem is not telling us why. You're giving us a nebulous reason that means nothing. All right, when it really comes down to it, because when people go, what specifically, you say, well, we violated community guidelines. What specifically in this video was violating community guidelines? They don't want to come back and show us what specifically is this violation. So if we are basically agents being led on to their streams or into their business, right? All right. Where we're providing them content, so in a certain sense we're employees, then at the very least they owe us the knowledge to say this is what happened and why.
So it's like when Jonah James basically fires Peter Parker.
No, it's nothing like that, but carry on, you dick.
No, Peter Parker he was a contractor. When they published his photos, he got paid.
Yeah. Well, anyway, look, can you let the adults speak? But the problem, I mean, like I said, the main problem is really the precedent that it sets now in terms of how broad the net is going to be cast. And the thing was, somebody said earlier about the idea about deporting. Deporting was brought in. Now, the people who are causing what happened to Alex Jones are the liberals. They're the ones who are saying we welcome fucking immigrants and everything, right? They're the ones who are now getting raped in Germany and in Sweden and. The ones with the welcome flags, the ones who want deporting are the opposite scale. So it's not the same group of people. Don't conflate the two into one. There are two separate camps. I mean, I'm not saying one or I just wanted to make that point because it's the idea that deporting is in any way, shape, or form related to deplatforming. At this point in time. Is not the case.
Well, I don't know actually, because that depends on circumstances. You can quite easily have the circumstances of what the other gentleman that was on before saying that because of an ideology or because of a religion-based thing, we're going to deport you. It's kind of the same thing as deplatforming, because what you're doing is you're excluding that person based on an ideology away from the country.
Yes, but that's the thing that I was saying is that the people who are promoting and the mass immigration are not the people who want to, deplatform, say, Islamics. They're the ones that are saying that you can't be racist, that you couldn't.
Now it works. Okay, cool.
Hey.
We can hear you now.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, I'll go.
So, there's two different camps. I mean, if you're talking about deportation, that's a totally different camp than the people who are looking at deplatform. Because they are not willing to deplatform anyone relating to, I mean, even things like, what was it, Abu Hamza? I mean, he can probably still get a fucking YouTube channel.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a gentleman called Ali Dawa?
Ali Akbar.
No, Ali Dawa. He's a well-known activist for ISIS, and he's a well-known what do you call it? The people that entice people into doing things. Constrictor.
Instigator.
Blue whale.
Conscriptor. Sorry.
Recruiter.
That's the one. Yes, recruiter. That's the correct word. Thank you very much. He's a well-known recruiter. He has 2 channels on YouTube. He's also had 4 Twitter accounts and also had 2 Facebook accounts, and yet they still allow him to come on.
There you go. See, that's what I'm saying. 2 totally different sets of standards. So I mean, no, it's just the idea that someone was conflating the idea of deportation with the deplatforming of Alex Jones. It's the opposite groups.
Actually, I think the real question is I don't think people truly understand why he was deplatformed.
No, he doesn't. No, they didn't tell him. How could he know?
Oh, I mean, not what the excuse is, what the real reason is for deplatforming him. I mean, I have my theory. I'm not sure if you guys have yours.
Yeah, I would imagine that most of us would have a theory of it. So what's yours?
Well, mine is that they stupidly and doggedly truly believe that if they just keep up the pressure enough, they can eventually impeach Donald Trump. And Alex Jones is a supporter of his. I truly think that if Alex Jones was ranting about, aliens and tinfoil hats and conspiracies, as long as he wasn't supporting Trump, they probably would have given him a pass. The problem is that I don't think the people who are going through this truly understand what's going on, because let's face facts here. In America, at least I can speak with some authority. The vast majority of people who make food here, the farmers, are conservative. The vast majority of police officers that I know, they don't like progressives. They hate how progressives have been treating them. They like Trump. The military likes Trump. So if you kept pushing people, let's say they actually impeached him, I have no doubt that at least 5% of the population would be willing to pick up guns and start shooting people. And you only need, 3% of a population to openly revolt in order to have a civil war? I mean, really, if they did impeach him, or God forbid he was shot and killed, there would be war. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. Okay, but why are they going after Alex Jones? Because he supports Trump. And I think anybody who if you're someone like me who goes, I got some problems with him, some things I like, some things I don't, they're not going to zap you because you're not promoting him. You understand what I'm saying?
Bob, I think it's more, I go more down the midterm route. I think it's, that they really...
The midterms are to impeach him. Here in America, the midterms are a referendum on impeaching Trump. Because if they can't get a majority, it's not going to happen.
And the thing is that they are really hoping for this blue wave. And so the only way of repressing the red wave, or, repressing the red voters, is to get the kind of people who are going to promote the red side from the air. And this is a great way of doing it. So that you don't even need such a big blue wave anymore, right? Because you managed to suppress an awful lot of the red.
Well, no, I'm wondering, are they going to go after the Young Turks next?
Why would they? They don't support Trump. Why would they? They don't support Trump. That's why both points but that's why both points that have already previously been made are absolutely correct. Yes, they went after him because of Trump, and yes, they went after him because they were going to promote Trump during the midterms. It's that easy and that simple.
To be fair, Cenk Uygur also, I don't think I've ever seen him tear his shirt off.
Well, yeah,
but he is very racist.
TYT is already suing itself, so that's fun.
Yeah,
it's
a former employee.
Yeah,
but it's still tearing itself apart, isn't it?
Yep.
The ideal world.
The problem is that I don't. Well, at least on their side I don't think they understand they're not suppressing Jack, because the moment you do this. You have just elevated Alex Jones to God status.
Yeah, you vindicated all of his points.
He is the second coming of Trump now. He is Trump's messiah.
Well, it's not like trying to tell folks not to look at something on the internet would ever have the opposite effect.
There you go.
Exactly.
And the thing is, it's not as if they prevented anyone from watching it. He's got his own, he's got his own channel. You know, he has his own stream. So
no, I think it's sourced via YouTube, though. I think it was embedded.
No, it's
on
not.
The site. It's not.
No, it's not.
With the podcast.
No, it's not. It runs. What do they used to use? A StreamCloud or something.
I think he has something on Twitch. Is something Sherardi found.
Yeah, well, he's also on live stream. So, you know.
He's got an Infowars documentaries channel that he's using at the minute on YouTube.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait a second. What does Alex Jones play on Twitch?
Well, no. Yeah. I thought Twitch
Political
was
discussions.
I was going to say something, but just realized how it would be taken on this channel.
He's a Super Mario 3 type of guy, isn't he?
But no, I'm wondering, is that against YouTube's terms of service if they killed Infowars and the Real Alex Jones channels? Can he use a different channel? Like, that's against the terms of service, right?
But hang on, wasn't there also a guy called Ron Gibson who used to do the stream on his behalf? Has that poor bastard lost his channel too now?
No, but he's lost his fucking job.
Has he? Oh.
Well, if they can't stream, how does he get paid?
No, I just think he was running, like a stream from the, his computer. He didn't have to be there for it to operate. I'm sure Ron Gibson used to record every Alex Jones show. So
possibly. I do know what the other guy was trying to suggest. The thing is with the Infowars documentaries channel that I think he's now using, it's a case that it was already pre-made. It was already there. I don't know if that still counts under YouTube services, but it wasn't just remade. He didn't reapply, so I don't know if that still counts as his own channel or separate channel.
Yeah, it depends who registered it.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it was just a question.
We need to break out 4chan.
We do. We need to find out the truth.
We need to know that we need to wait
on YouTube. Just unleash.
No, but you need a direction, you need a path, you need a problem to be solved. I don't think we properly defined the actual problem. So what is it going to provide if we don't even know where we're going?
Go insane. That's the path, man.
Well, that
just
seems to be the
shit.
definition of a lot of the stuff we've been doing. It's just doing it again and again, expecting a different result.
This is the point. We know that we need to know the way.
Well, yes. Why don't we find a better path, a better way?
I know the way. I will show you the way. You do not know the way, and I will show you the way.
You smell the Ebola.
Well, where do we go, Bob?
Well, the question is do you establish a set of rules and stick to them? This is something that Max just said. Unfortunately, when it comes to the left, they're big into rules apply for everyone else but me.
Yep.
Well, that doesn't seem like a fair game.
No.
But it's their game, and that's the point.
Oh.
Well, see, here's the problem here, and this is the big debate going right on. Do we stick with our principles and not sink to their level, or do we say, fuck it, I'm sinking to their level, and I'm going to do it better? And unfortunately, I think we're moving towards I'm sinking to their level, and we're going to do it better.
Yeah,
but
I disagree. That is the mutually assured destruction, though, right?
But
one side will be destroyed first.
But isn't that what the whole meme war was about? Because, I mean, they got destroyed by the meme war because they don't have a fucking sense of humor, because they take themselves so
seriously. So what was their solution?
Well, we just ended up laughing at them, but unfortunately...
Hey, what's up, Rat?
We spent so much time laughing.
Their solution was to go and dox people that were creating memes.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's what I mean, and that's a deplatforming exercise.
I like memes.
Can I just quickly say something that I think a lot of people actually are missing? An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth leaves everybody blind and toothless.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
But Toothless is a cute dragon.
But if you shoot them and they're dead, there's one living body and one dead one.
Yeah, but then Jensen Quinn will come and try to eat them.
As I pointed out before, though, this conflict is remarkably one-sided, though. This isn't going to be an eye for an eye. This is going to be one eye for like 50.
Is it worth it?
Yes. Yes, because at this point, they need to live up to their own rules. And as soon as they changed their attitude and said, we're not going to follow these crazy rules anymore, and we're going to be civilized human beings, then we should live up to those rules too. At this point, they set the rules. They want to go, wallow in the muck, then let's wallow in the muck until they go, my God, we're losing at this. And as soon as they start taking the high road again, then we can take the high road again. But until then, taking the high road is like fighting with one hand behind our back.
Not particularly, no. That's a poor analogy. Why would you want to get into the muck to fight them when all you need to do is stand on the side and watch them sink?
Because they don't.
Because they're not.
Unless you confront.
They are.
No, they're
are
dragging
them.
Alex Jones down with them. They did a massive hit against his financial income.
They've got rid of Alex Jones.
Real money.
They've got Alex Jones. I understand that, but they're not winning. They're not winning, no, because they've got Donald. You've got Donald Trump in power.
Maybe.
And by that, I mean that people themselves are now changing their ideologies and changing their minds. You are doing that by actually not wallowing in the muck with them. You are showing people a better way by standing on the side. You are showing them the way.
No, that's you don't know if that's an outlier or a single individual. You don't know if that's a cult of personality. You can't just say that Donald Trump won, so therefore, you're winning. All right. Now there are other aspects that are part of that. I would agree, but that would lend to your suggestion.
That is a big thing, MC. Like the whole cult of personality, because let's face it, Donald Trump is an individual. Oh, hi, Cryptic.
I heard Dewey. Do you know Dewey?
We know Dewey.
Okay. Hey, I heard Naruto.
Damn, they're calling for girls. I almost had Mrs. Ogre sit down, but she just hauled ass again. I think I might split, though. It's been pointed out that I ain't adding much, and I think other people want to get in the room.
Yeah, I'm going to get off as well. It's fucking late where I am, so I'm going to get off.
Oh, God.
Been fun talking with you.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Well, hell, if he's skipping out, I might stick around. I just want to make sure everybody else can get in. I was just waiting until there was a chance to say something.
Yeah, I'm getting off. See you later.
Peace out.
Cheers, JB. God bless you. Long live the Liberal Britain Party.
So as MD is dealing with a lot of childhood aggro right now, I would just like to say, what are your guys' thoughts on finding the way, the better path? Let's try to avoid genocide and then just saying nothing's going on, nothing's happening. What's the better path, guys?
You give them Ebola, and that gives them
Ebola. We need Ebola.
No, the better path.
You want the actual better path is unfortunately, I think we have to take a very real strategy, which is we live up to their standards. We don't say, okay, we're going to go even deeper. We go, you sink down to 50 feet, we go down to 50. You go down to 52, we go down to 52.
That's Rule 4, man.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, and it works.
Yeah,
but we don't go to 53. We don't go one lower more. We always
but
go,
the thing is,
you're going lower. We're not.
Hey, Cabby, let's have a drink. Let's have a drink for old times before I haul ass, man. Here's to you, Cabby. Here's to Great Britain. Here's to the fucking Brexit if they don't rape you all out of it.
Oh, I tell you, Ogre, all those days ago, I said what they were going to do, and I have not been proven right.
Yeah, I don't want to derail the conversation. I just wanted to have a drink with you.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
They're fucking doing it, dude. Fucking doing it, man. I think Boris is one of the bravest, coolest bitches I ever fucking seen in my life. I thought his resignation letter was brilliant, and they even mocked that, dude.
Well, God bless America.
Thank you.
God save the Queen. I'll be listening, boys.
Peace, Mr. Ogre.
Take care.
Well, actually, let me give you one personal example about the tactics thing. I used to be a bill collector, and I'm going to flat out say I was evil. And I have destroyed thousands of people. I have cost people their jobs, taken their cars, garnished their wages. I have done things to devastate people, and I never, not once, lied or broke the law. I didn't need to.
How did it make you feel?
I dug up a man's dead mother and repoed the jewelry from her corpse. You have no idea how long it took and what I had to do to finagle to do that. And I sent him a bill for the backhoe. Okay, before you tell me, oh, don't sink to their level, because you don't know what the level is. And when they truly decide, oh, I'm going to cut loose, you're going to be standing there going, holy fuck, what the fuck did they just do? And if you're not willing to at least meet them nuke for nuke, missile for missile, and say, are you going to back off now? You're going to run into some nut job like me on the other side, who's
Well-
going to find a way to do things you didn't even think were legally possible.
Well, 1776 will commence again if you take or try to take her guns.
Oh, you know,
Yeah,
I believe in
and-
that 100%. Yeah.
Well, isn't that why Alex Jones is potentially banned? And I said this earlier a little bit on CSG's stream before I popped on over here. It almost seems as if what's he saying? He's like, if you're saying those things, they're going to go after our guns. What are more recent stories? The ghost guns, the untraceable weapons, those plastic 3D things. If all of a sudden you have an individual saying those things, and then all of a sudden certain parts of it coming out there, I haven't really watched Alex Jones in a while. I'm not sure what he's covering. But if those are what he's covering, these are the words he said, would that not go into the narrative of basically starting to get on the street? There were protests this past weekend, and where were they? Portland or something. And to the police's credit, they ended up breaking that stuff up, because every time Tim Pool's live stream went down, I guess what he had said, aside from his camera overheating, is YouTube would cut the feed if they thought it was about to get very violent. Because let's say, what happens? If all of a sudden you have all these folks, like these Antifa people and everything, why are they there? They think they're protesting and fighting against Nazis. Hey, if I thought there was a bunch of Nazis there too, I'd probably be doing the same thing. But here's the thing, man. If all of a sudden that happens and they're like, one side is being disingenuous, they're doing this and that, they're using these tactics, well, why shouldn't we do that? So what's the solution to the black bloc?
But
now the blue bloc.
I'm sorry, but this is what really just it winds me up. There are no Nazis marching in streets and things. I mean, there was that, what was it, the Tiki March or something that happened, but that had not. I mean, the majority of people there were not. That was just very bad, optics or whatever you want to call it.
There was, I'll be straight up, dude. At one of the events, I went to that free speech rally. After the fact, I watched some of the video. There was one-eyed gentleman who identifies as a National Socialist.
Yeah. Okay. One. Okay. And how many?
Yeah.
Right. So there was really nothing,
like
right? And this is well, okay, 60 out of how many? I mean, it's,
no, that was one dude out of 60.
So there's always going to be
like
some. There's always going to be a nutter, yeah, and there's probably somebody there who probably is a furry too. So I mean, there are odd people everywhere. But I mean, the idea that that's some kind of cross section of society, I don't think it's in any way relevant. That doesn't, that's not a comparative study.
No. The reason I say that is just because if one side's escalating, you start seeing violence. Because when were these rallies held? They were held on the anniversary of the Unite the Right rally.
But there are no.
Heather Heyer got killed there. A woman died. An American ended up killing another American. These are the events that actually happened. Okay, no, I really didn't look into it. All I know is this individual who happened to be on one side ended up killing a girl who happened to be on the other side. And that's why I say the cycle of violence breeds violence and everything. And let's face it, I believe most folks are good people, but all it takes, if you get enough folks, if you get 1,000 folks on one side, 1,000 folks on another, there's a good statistical chance that there's going to be somebody that would like to escalate things, and then it devolves into, you're on my side, I'm on your side. How can you tell? Well, I don't know. Oh, look, this dude's wearing black, this dude's wearing blue. The blue is on my side, the black is on my side, and then we just go at it.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah,
so don't punch back when somebody comes to beat your face.
Well, that's the
gun,
thing.
The approach. We should just walk up to them and let them take the steel clubs and beat us. That only works because the media was on the right side.
Well, that's the thing. The media, here's the thing. The media has always had definitely, MC will hammer me on this, a bit more progressive slants, which I don't think there's anything wrong with being exposed to new ideas. However, if you're going to just be kind of one side, like if literally statistically it's like 92%, 90+% of the coverage of the president's negative, it's like, has he not done one good thing? Didn't he side in like some maternity leave bill like at the beginning of his thing? You see like one quick blurb, it's like, if you give the guy credit where credit is due, then your actual attacks on what his policy and what he's actually saying actually hold more weight.
But memes, right, at the end of the day, when we're looking at what's really going on, I mean, if you look at, say, Stefan Molyneux or Lauren Southern banned from Britain, not because she was like, some lunatic throwing anything around or starting any riots or doing anything, right? There was absolutely nothing about her. And the same thing that happened.
Incendiary device at a naval vessel.
If you're not worried about violence, one of the problems with that view is that the one side that's willing to engage consistently in violence then wins.
Exactly.
Because if you're worried about it, if you're so worried about violence that you're willing to cede the field, where every time there's a possibility of violence, you're going to run away from it. Okay,
well, not only,
you are ceding the field to the people who are the violent ones.
Did I say cede the field?
Yeah, but you also
have to. You just said that, Means.
No, I didn't.
You just said
Yes, you
there's
did.
going to
You
be
said
people
don't
let
on
him.
both
I asked you
sides, so
specifically.
we need to step back. But there's
You
one
did.
side that has never
Did I
stepped
say step back?
back,
I really
Means,
don't know.
and you don't want to call them out. You want to play the pox on both houses game.
Yeah,
When
but
the
you see,
other, and we're at a point now where you have to recognize the
Maintain
other
low tones.
side has refused and will continue to refuse to
Maintain
back
low
down.
tones. He's not the enemy.
yeah,
Maintain
MC.
low
Yeah,
tones.
but he wasn't just saying that, but he was also saying salt your own fields. You know, I mean,
this
that's
is
what makes it
I'm saying.
worse.
Well, what's the problem? You have a whole bunch of folks putting on masks. What I'm saying is just take off the freaking mask. Just actually like deal with the situation. Look somebody in the eye and have words with them. Because if you don't look someone in the eye, if you're covered with a mask, you don't know this other person's. All you know, this is the person you disagree with. This is your
And
enemy.
who put on the-
I agree with you in principle.
Fuck this shit. All I'm saying is
No.
remove the mask, talk to people. Actually, look at me. And you know,
No.
if they attack you, yes, you have the ability to defend yourself. But at that point, I think it becomes a whole hell of a lot harder. And I think that will actually rout out the individuals that
No.
are just kind of trying to stir up trouble.
Means you don't get it. This is the point.
Wow.
They've given up, like, the idea that you had to go, like, I mean, Antifa was getting some really bad press, right? And it has done since, I think, the battle in Seattle.
Antifa!
So all these people are getting some major fucking blowback. And so they know that that strategy is a really bad one. So now they're just going full on deplatforming. That's one of the major reasons why people like Alex Jones are getting deplatformed. That's why they are going after all these people, because now they realize they don't even have to go to the streets. They can do it at their fingertips.
Well,
You know?
well, yeah, and that's why we have the First Amendment and these things. I
Yeah,
very
well, good
much
luck
think-
here
No,
enforcing it.
I very much think if you don't think there's going to be litigation, I believe you might be. I don't necessarily believe those statistics.
Have
I
you?
think
Okay.
litigation-
How many people here have worked for a law firm? I'm the only one raising my hand right now.
I work for
very
one, but
briefly
not as a
with
lawyer.
paralegal for my dad.
We can drag things out for years.
Mhm.
The lawsuit that Alex Jones might start will not finish until long after 2020.
Until he's dead. Yeah, well, exactly.
I
No, but here's
promise
the
you.
thing: it brings it up. It's in the national.
No,
law.
it doesn't, because it has to get out into the
Okay,
public.
here's
And if
what-
they're
here's-
deplatforming
here's the
everybody
thing
so you can't
you're
speak.
ignoring.
Yep, you can't actually report on it.
Here's the things that you're ignoring, Memes. All right, so Alex Jones starts his lawsuit. It goes through. It finishes up sometime in 20. We'll say we'll be generous. 2019, right? So he wins his lawsuit. What's going to prevent them from doing it exactly again and him having to sue it again? Absolutely
Well-
nothing. And if you think that they won't do it again and again and again and bring lawsuits like this, to force lawsuits like this again and again and again, then you're not looking at history.
So what happens when
Well,
it goes to the
well,
Supreme
hold on
Court,
here,
which
but
is more
let's-
likely to rule in?
Okay.
Well,
Look,
no,
we went to the Supreme
MC.
Court about guns, and yet
MC.
we're back in the Supreme Court again about guns again and again and
MC.
again. It doesn't fix it.
MC, one thing. On principle, I have to agree with him. Okay, on principle. In a theoretical perfect world, he's right. The problem is we're not living in a theoretical perfect world. We're living in an ugly world that isn't fair. And life, bad things happen to good people. Good things happen to bad people. That doesn't mean you're a bad person because something bad happens to you, but it happens.
Yeah, but it's because he's a liberal, and he just, you know, I mean, this is
I mean, it's very optimistic view. I give it, and I
no, it's
can see it.
ideological.
But the problem is that in reality, this is getting to the point where people are going to get hurt. They are. There's no avoiding it anymore. Okay.
Well, people already have been hurt. I mean,
Well,
families
yes,
have
and
been
it's
destroyed. I mean,
I don't
you've
know
got
how to
people
stop it
losing
or if it's
jobs
going
and-
to. The question is whether or not we all decide to go the Gandhi route, walk up there and say, beat us in the face, which only works if we have a media that will show our martyrdom. Or do we say, all right, if you're not going to fight fair, we're not going to fight fair either until you start fighting fair again.
Okay,
The
Rat,
problem is how do you
here for
stop?
quite a
How
while.
do you stop?
Said anything. How about Rat? We'll let Rat speak for a little bit. Come on, Rat.
Come on, Randy.
Oh, please. I'm sorry, Rat. Please speak.
About the Alex Jones thing, coming from the left, I can tell you that I was not happy to see him banned from certain platforms because I think that's the entirely wrong way to go. When it comes to sort of the Unite the Right 2.0 rally, I sort of. I saw Styx Hexenhammer uploaded a video about it, and I was basically on the same side as him. Whereas it's, what will the Unite the Right rally really achieve other than making the right look worse?
Bingo.
Well, yeah, that's why I think this is
the Unite the Right is a trap.
Created opposition, so to say.
Yeah,
you know, like
here's the thing. I, as a leftist, want the right to be reasonable. Like, I want a right wing that I can actually argue with, that doesn't, do the whole tiki torch thing. So
yeah, but is the left being reasonable? The pendulum swings both ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh, definitely. I fucking oppose Antifa as well. I think they're more...
MD, let me ask you this: how do you deal with your children?
You give them large amounts of cough syrup. No, I'm kidding.
You give them
no,
lots
did you not seed a burrito the other day?
Okay, no, but are you saying that the left are you saying that the left are children, that you can't reason with these people at all?
No, I'm saying there's a similar mentality to somebody whom you view as being unreasonable.
Do you? Okay. Do you know what a no? I deal with the insane. I don't think you truly understand what somebody who is unreasonable will do. I mean, I could probably spend hours occupying this stream giving you examples. When you get somebody who truly believes something, like it requires something that shatters their world to break them out of it. And gentle speaking to somebody, trying to use logic and reason to slowly pull them around, doesn't work for a long time.
That just makes the whole thing worse.
Because they're not our children, they're somebody else's children. Okay, they don't have an inkling of respect for us. Every child has some respect for a parent.
So how do you gain respect?
How do you gain respect? You bloody somebody's nose and then say, "Do you want to keep doing this, or do you want to talk?"
That is one way, and it has worked. But I'm saying, just what happens if you do like Mad Dodge Diz, and when his son comes up to him and is like, "Daddy, if you really love me, you'll give me your burrito." What was the outcome?
Oh, please.
Well, okay. Anyway,
I'm just saying, break bread with somebody, share some commonality, show me your right. Maybe doing something nice for somebody.
The problem is that that might have worked. I got to go and point back to back when, what was his name? Andy Worski was talking with that bitch from MTV, and they were really friends and pals, and the only reason she was nice to him so she could sucker him and record some of the conversation and use it against him on her channel. They have repeatedly taken the gift of friendship and twisted it around to the point where if any of them did approach me at this point, I don't know if I would trust them.
No, and they've burned
so many bridges. You're offering, you say, let's set up another bridge. Well, the last 3 bridges all turned out to be mined.
You know, sometimes
why is this bridge different?
Sometimes
go ahead.
You actually have to blow up somebody else's bridges instead of waiting for yours to be blown up, you know? And every time it's just a matter of, well, if you just give them something, then maybe they'll go away. You know, if you just give the child the sweeties, maybe they'll go away. And it's no surprise that it's this mindset, you know, this infantilized mindset that just, well, if you give me something, I'll be good today, and then I won't be a problem. And that's all they're trying to do. And then it's just a little bit at a time. And that, you know, and it's no surprise that you end up with them all on fucking Ritalin because they're acting like bloody 2-year-olds.
But this is why you need to sort of differentiate between the different parts of the right and the different parts of the left. There are reasonable parts of both sides, whereas there are also more lunacy-based sides on both of them. Like, I would say that there are...
I think you're dealing with a bunch of centrists here.
Yeah, and the thing is that when you with the people we're talking about, and the group, the block that has increased has been the ones which really just want shit for nothing.
I would never say that I'm a centrist. I don't claim myself as a centrist any more than Rat claims that he's a centrist either.
I've heard you
not
guys talk,
centrist,
and
he's a
comparing
Jew.
to the way the world is right now, I'm sorry, on average, we are centrists.
Shirati, what are
Because
you?
we're not going, let's grab some tiki torches, or, let's all put on blast masks. We're the reasonable ones, which should
Yeah.
scare the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kelly, I
Shirati.
didn't hear what you said.
So, which one were you assigning yourself? Was it centrist or disassociating
Technically
yourself?
speaking, I'm a liberal.
No, I'm asking Shirati. I was asking
I'm
her
sorry.
what she said. Shirati, what did you say? Did you say you were a centrist or a...
I didn't say I was anything. I said
Right.
MC was a Jew.
Oh, okay. Well, we all know that.
God damn, that is the new Nazi penguin. Is that Patrick Wilson? I'm just saying.
Oh wait, MC,
right.
Shalom.
It's left, right, up. It's the political compass. It's left, right, up, down, and Jew.
Yes.
The
The exception.
I gotta
the
remember
exception
that
to
one.
the rule.
AB start, and then Jew.
I found
No,
out
no,
recently.
no.
I found out I'm a Jew. Yeah, I did that 23andMe thing. As soon as I got
Yeah.
my results, they sent me that little bag of Jew gold to keep around your neck.
Did you? It's good.
Wait.
No diamonds. Wow, you got stiffed.
Did you get mine?
I also got the fake bag too. It was really awesome. I'm like totally on board with the conspiracy.
Well, no, you need to learn the difference.
No, to say he thinks he got that, but in reality, what he got was a bunch of gold teeth. This was the wrong group to send it to.
Actually, I think I got 2 fake bags of gold, but hey,
Well, no, that's maybe where he got through something. But no, let's go back to what Bob had said there. You said you may have dealt with some folks that may have been irrational at times, correct?
Actually, I do it all the time. It's my job. I work with the mentally and physically disabled and people getting out of mental hospitals.
Well, I do not do that, but at times I have worked in such facilities. Like my ex-girlfriend, used to say, "Oh yeah, I met my boyfriend in the insane asylum."
I don't think
No, excuse me,
it
no,
works.
Happens more than you think.
I think that's
She said
exactly how
she
it
said the
happened.
mental ward,
Yeah,
which technically was not an untrue statement.
No, I think it was actually accurate. When you say you work there, imagining you work there doesn't count.
Oh no, I know. I didn't actually work directly with them. I wasn't trained in that, but I would work at the facilities to basically help repair things.
You just kept turning up, and they just let you come in for a second. And
Actually,
get
they
you
kind of
coffee.
did. It was only supposed to be a temporary project. We were supposed to haul some furniture for a while, and then eventually they offer you work. I'm like, oh, I met my girlfriend here. Hey, why not? It's a completely different path than corporate sales, dude. I never expected it myself.
Yes. All right. So we accept the
let
fact
me
that
put it
you
this
are
way.
actually a mental. You are actually in a
cabbage.
mental
Cabbage.
hospital.
Going off of what Bob said. Let me. Okay. Here's how I, at least with my minor, very layman's terms, absolutely no real other than sliver reaction, is basically at one point I was turned into a ghost. A child gave me an imaginary potion. I open up. I glug.
See?
And then basically I'm like, oh, now I can see through this. And then he took away my ghost powers and then basically turned me into a mutant. So I'm like, oh, so now I've been added a magic skeleton. I'm like, be careful, I'll sprout claws.
This is an adult.
This
This is an adult who can't differentiate
play,
between
man.
virtual and
Reciprocal
reality.
play. Just have fun with somebody. If you're able to identify on something, maybe you don't even care. You know, explore it. Maybe you enjoy it a little bit. Go play a round of golf with someone. Break some bread. Have a meal. Have a nice fancy flan or whatever cabbages eat.
Jesus, just go into Second Life and just
I
lose yourself.
understand what you're saying there.
No, my roommate did that. I saw what it did to him. It was terrible.
Memes. The thing that you don't understand is that's not going to stop physical violence or conflict.
Not all.
No,
Okay.
no.
won't do
What he is talking
anything.
about? No, let's be
It's
honest. here.
moronic. Honestly,
what he's talking
it's
about
not-
is going to be great after this finally comes to a head.
It's so simple.
But there's and Cabbage said this the other day. In America, we have this mythos of the event, of the moment, of the break.
silver bullet.
It doesn't happen. We believe in it in America, and when you believe in something like that, it kind of comes true. And all of America is sitting around holding their breath, waiting for that watershed moment, that moment where it happens. After that moment, yes, approaching the other side, being friendly again, saying, hey, you know what, maybe we all went too far, let's try and make up and all that other stuff. Great plan, but I don't think it's time yet. And the reason why is my experience has been you can't help somebody who doesn't want help.
Yeah, but last time we
I
went
might
that
be
route,
able to fix
it
all your
took-
problems. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Last time we went that route, all right, we lost about 3 to 4% of the entire U.S. population. Are you ready to go that way?
See, I don't want it to come to a quote-unquote head. I don't want to have to deal
Exactly.
with war in my children's lifetime. That's
It
what
may
I'm
not
worried
be
about.
that.
No,
It may be
will.
some other event, but it may not lead to war. But
Yes,
everyone is
it may not be
looking
war.
for
It
event.
could just be starvation. That could work.
Also,
No, wait a minute. No, it will be a war if they continue to silence people and drive everybody into quote unquote the underground. Because all that's going to do is ferment fucking partisan
Yeah, they're
ideology.
cutting off the very conversation that memes wants. Memes wants people to talk, and by silencing Alex Jones, they are silencing the conversation. And the
And that's-
conversation is what prevents the wars.
That's the thing. If you look at how they are silencing people, this is why I get so pissed off when I see left-leaning people celebrating Alex Jones being thrown off his platforms. It's like, okay, so they came for Alex Jones now. Who's the next one they're going to come for? And who's the next one? Who's the next one? At some point, we all get silenced, and there are no one left to stand up for us.
Nobody
Which
says
is
something
why-
now. When's it going to come to each and every one of us? Because if you're going by that strict criteria that we don't know about, technically we shouldn't even have the stream right now.
Well, no, and we won't do very soon because the algorithms.
Oh, yeah,
the
I mean,
algorithms are coming, baby. That's it. I mean, that's
Matt
the whole
Dodge,
point.
remember what happened the last time you got up over 1,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that vividly.
My entire point is that
Why do you think I don't promote my channel so much? I don't want to get up to over 1,000. That way I'm ignored.
Yeah, my whole point is that I fucking hate Alex Jones. I think he's a odious guy that with horrible opinions about things. But here's the thing: if I suddenly start celebrating that he is getting silenced, then who the fuck is going to come to my rescue the day they silence my
Absolutely.
channel?
Yeah. No, I mean, this is the point I was saying. This is a really dangerous precedent that it can happen, and in the way in which it happened, it wasn't just one platform. He didn't just get kicked off Twitter, which happens to everybody at some point, apparently. But it was a coordinated attack.
Which
I mean, this.
I'm sorry, if you were trying to fuel paranoia, you just did it.
Yeah. They did. They did it. They proved his point. They verified everything that he's been saying.
Well, one of the things too is what did it initially start with? Either Apple just completely removing him from the Play Store, or I forget the other one. But then once one big company saw them doing, they're like, oh, they've done it, so it's setting cultural precedents. All right, I'm going to do it because I think any one of them, if whoever did it, they were slightly afraid. It's okay, you might file a lawsuit, this might go poorly, but as soon as one saw it, they all jumped on.
And also, it's also a very important thing to know that one of the most important tactics is never make your enemy a victim.
Oh yeah, and the thing is though, Alex Jones isn't going to be a victim right now because he's going to get so much more traffic onto his
he's
going to play the victim.
He's going to spin it.
Well, I tell you what, if he starts playing the victim, then he's no better than a social justice warrior. So then he will be surely proves a hypocrite. But as we've all agreed, I don't really give a shit about him. I think he's a snake oil salesman. I don't give a shit about him personally, but I give a shit about the way in which he's being treated. That's the point.
But that's it. He's going to play the victim for this, and
he'd be a fool not to. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry, you're handed this. If this happened to me, I'd be doing a happy dance, and then I would be the biggest martyr on the planet.
Yeah, that's my point. If I was a CEO at Apple or whatever, I don't fucking know. my first thing would be like, never make this guy into a victim because it will rally his supporters.
Oh, not only supporters. This is the weird thing. They've gained him a bunch of supporters now. Because how many people are now going to go looking for his, content, wondering why it happened, right?
Yeah, and
people who've never heard of him before.
Well, no, exactly. And look at everybody talking about it right now. I mean, we are obviously, and that's all that's in my subscription feed is Alex Jones. Like, that's it.
And that's also another thing. It's like, why the fuck do these guys make me come out to protect and support a guy that I don't like? I don't want to be associated with him at all. But now I have to fucking answer to the shit that they have been pulling. Now they have made me into a person that has to protect a guy that I don't want to protect.
Well, that's the thing. No, it's like going on what Bob just said right there. Like, he's like, oh, if you go to happiness, it's because like all of a sudden we're monetizing victimhood status. And the question is, like, isn't that the problem? Like, we're incentivizing potentially bad behavior.
Well, yeah, but it's going to happen. Do you think we can stop it?
No, but the thing is, it's
like
not
the
like
eight of us can get together and go, we are the world, we are the children.
Well, what's 8 out of
part
7
of a corporate
plus
conglomerate to make a song.
Well, you got to start somewhere, brother.
I believe you do, but I also am a firm believer that you can't help somebody until they want the help. And right now, society doesn't want the help. Nobody wants the help.
Oh no, it does. No, I don't
I've
agree
got
with
the problem.
you.
I can
I
fix
think
it.
you're wrong. I think you're wrong. That's how Trump got in. That's how Brexit happened. That's how Italy is now going the way that it is. That's how Hungary's going the way it is. That's how Poland's going the way it is. Because people are actually showing that they're pissed. Right now, there are certain people who are, sitting on the fence who only would take us, a slight nudge in the right, in one direction or the other.
Yeah, but I don't think
right
we've quite reached the peak. I don't think.
Well, no, we
quite
haven't reached the
that
peak.
point where we have reached the point where it is the majority. Right now,
No, but the
you've got the
media-
majority of the people just don't care.
Yeah, but the media, well, I don't think so. I really don't. And certainly not in when I was talking with people about, you talk to people on the bus stop, you talk to people in shops or whatever. I spoke to a lot of people, when you're just hanging around, and Brexit usually came up at one time or another, obviously, because it was an important issue. And people were totally engaged in it. This false narrative that people didn't really know what they were doing and weren't engaged or anything like that. Absolute horseshit. 100% horseshit. And I mean from the people, the middle class, dinner party lovies to the guy on the street who's, doing his, shift patterns. They were engaged.
Well, that might be nice, but let me explain something to you. That's an outlier. You're talking one topic. Okay. When I go talk to people hear about Brexit, they didn't even know there was a Brexit.
Well, of course, around you.
No,
but it's not relevant to them.
It is relevant. It is incredibly relevant. This all ties together. It is incredibly relevant, but they don't want to even know about it.
No, but Bob, even if it ties together. Oh, go ahead.
Even if the UK
influence
whatever Brexit was important to everybody, but pick something not quite as important, but still an important issue. How many people can you say are well informed about multiple issues? That's the problem. Everybody's a one-trick pony.
No. Seriously, no. It wasn't just about Brexit. It was about the issues with regarding to the hard wall that was meant to go across Northern Ireland. We had people who were looking at what was going on in Italy, what was going on in Greece, especially during the Greek crisis.
Well, that's
the whole
news
pigs
for
thing breaking
here, that's
down.
not the case.
Yeah, but it is here because obviously that's kind of on our doorstep. That would be like knowing about what's happening in Missouri.
You guys are further along than us, I think. But here in America, we have the silent majority is pretty apathetic right now.
Well, that's true. But the other thing about cabbage, right? The way you were talking about that. Try it now.
Oh, I do.
Try and discuss. If Brexit comes up for an election again, try it then. Try and engage in a conversation with people that are on the other side then, and see what happens. because it isn't going to be the same way again.
Oh, on the other side, no, but this is the thing that I mean, that's the weird thing. The mass majority of people, which is why I still don't believe that vote is actually reflective of the population. Because when I was going around, there were very few people who were in opposition. You know, there's very few people that I meet ever that believe in this liberal, progressive, identitarian horseshit.
Well, don't people?
Very few. It is an absolute minority for the people that I interact with. It really is, and I interact with a fair cross section of society, and I really don't come across it. Well, I mean, do you? When you speak to people, do you get people who are, you know, really identitarian? I mean, I'm sure you would if you're living in Berkeley or somewhere, but
well, here in America, we have our pockets.
Yeah,
we have the pockets of various ideologies. If you
engage in those pockets, the rhetoric turns violent.
Well, it doesn't.
Well, outside those pockets, people don't give a shit. Like we had a rally here in central New York, and we actually had some of the, I think they may have been Antifa, whatever, show up. And you want to know what happened? Both sides kind of looked at each other. We flipped each other off a little bit. One side sang a bit. The other side waved, you know, their stupid flag. And then everybody just kind of wandered off.
Yeah.
A real lack of commitment.
No, that's what usually happens.
Right. Okay. There really wasn't a strong commitment to either side. And few people actually went over to go talk and say, why do you support this racist?
Because most people actually really, you know, when it comes down to it, they just know that they've got to live in their community and their society. And they you know, they know they're going to have to live together. Well, so there's a very, very small minority of people who are these radical lunatics. But for some reason, they have the balls of power, I guess.
Yeah, but the problem is this
grabbing the gonads.
The most majority apathetic, middle of the road people, kind of one side, kind of one of the other guys, need to all come together and say, hey, you fucktards, shut the fuck up, stop putting on masks, stop waving your tiki torches, you're both idiots, go screw yourselves. We just want to get back to work. We want to get on with our lives, stop being idiots, but we don't stop them from being idiots.
Well, what really made me mad though about the whole Charlottesville bullshit was the fact that I actually agreed with the protest. I don't think they should take down these monuments. And they really looked, everybody, you know, made everybody like me look like idiots because of the way they
fought. I agree with their point. I just didn't like their stupid tactics.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a crying shame.
Yeah, but I mean, none of this stuff. I mean, the vast majority of people, there are, like you said, there are segments of a very small portion of society that really are, you know, who are promoting this sort of stuff. Most people, especially now, they just want to get on with their jobs because they've got way more to do than I mean, apart from the ones who are doing gender studies courses or something, you know, because obviously they don't have too much stress, but most people who actually do have to be productive, they're all in the same boat and they know they are. They're not stupid.
I'm just happy you didn't go with the history degree. That's what I thought you were going to go with.
That would have been an ad hom. No, but Kevin brings up a good point. Here's the thing. I hear folks getting hated on a lot, but I tend to think people are smart. They know what they know often well, but when they come across something that's an unknown to them, a lot of folks don't like feeling dumb, so they'll just kind of say what someone else they trust or believe has a good idea they hear.
The thing is also, it's the change between people when they're at university and they're being given all these ideologies, and then they hit the real world and they suddenly have to, you know, deal with reality. And that's a rude awakening for them. And it shouldn't be, because they should have had some kind of training in university to prepare them for it. You know, you are not a special snowflake. You are not, you know, you're not going to get $1 million a year for your first contract and, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, these people have delusions. Yes, but this is the problem, that you have people who effectively, you know, like I said, they've been infantilized. And so they suddenly hit this wall of reality. And then they have to adapt. And then they actually come to, you know, then they recognize reality and what other people have been talking about. And so they can start relating again. there's a very small pocket of these, you know, these loonies. It's not a big percentage. I mean, who was it who said earlier on, you only need 3% or something to cause a revolution? But 3% of soy boys, I don't think that's a revolution we have to worry about. I really don't.
Well, here's the thing, and to go back to what MC said, how do we solve this? I do go back to what CSG and I were saying earlier about breaking bread. But you know what? Let's take it to a next level. Because MC, what I say as a solution is we need more chicken.
Oh God, man.
What we need, I mean, well, if you want a technical solution, okay. The problem is that, as we pointed out, that we have these colleges that teach implicit problem solving when we need explicit problem solving. Because explicit knowledge and explicit memories are all preferences. And when you get to implicit memories, your muscle reflexes, things that you have learned and memorized, and something's triggered and then you blurt out a bunch of shit, that's implicit. That is created memories, and that is prejudice. Okay. All of our universities memorize shit. Okay. That's what they teach you. Memorize, learn it reflexively, and that creates prejudice. Okay. Yeah. We no longer teach explicit memory problem solving, and because of that, we don't have solving problems by preferences and thinking through the problem. We have somebody said something right-wing Nazi.
Well, that's it. It's the difference between critical thinking and verbatim, you know, or Pavlov response. You know.
Yeah, well, I mean, the explicit implicit memory is the more updated version of all that.
Well, yeah, well, you can make new terms for it, but I mean, I think the original still stands. It's critical thinking. Can you think critically? Can you actually come to your own conclusion without having to be in, you know, if you can take information independently without a third party influence, and which is exactly what you get in universities now with the propaganda that's being imposed upon kids, and especially in schools and everything, right? If you can just get information and actually come to your own conclusion, that's critical thinking skills. And that's the one thing which has been absolutely decimated from education in the last 20 years.
Savage. Going on what you're saying, I don't know about you guys, but I'm salivating.
Yeah.
The main, well, I mean, I understand what you're saying, that it's the same thing, but it isn't, because when you go with the modern version of it, they go, most of what we do is implicit. 99% of what we do is automated. We don't think about where our toes are. We don't think about a lot of stuff, but the parts we do control are how do we program our brains with stuff that we do reflexively, whether or not we choose to be triggered or whether or not we choose to shut something down. That's basically where free will comes from.
I'm not talking about, you know, the idea that you stub your toe, whether or not you react. I'm talking
It's the
about
same thing as being
no,
racist.
It isn't.
Stubbing your toe and the reaction is the same thing as being racist. It is, as far as a chemical reaction and how your brain stores the information.
No, but that's the point that I'm saying, is that I was talking about education and the ability of critical thinking. I didn't say anything about stubbing toes or any shit like that. This is about education and being able to take information, sources of information, and come to a critical conclusion and actually, you know, form your own opinion.
Well, once again, how do you give that to someone?
That has absolutely nothing to do with stubbing your toe.
Yeah, no, but everybody,
reflexive response.
These Antifa people,
nothing to do.
They are stubbing their toe and going Nazi.
Yeah, well, that's got nothing to do.
How do you teach them to stop doing that?
Well,
learn to listen to Mad Dodge.
Well, you stop stubbing your toe, I guess. I mean,
no, then you're just not triggering it.
No,
once
sorry.
again, to wrap this back around to the original topic, is don't you think that's why you need debate within the university system as a whole also? Exactly. Can you really learn if you only look at one side of the argument? That's not critical thinking, as you're saying.
To have critical thinking, you need all ideas. We need Alex Jones. We need him.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
And that's why I'm saying that we're going to be sinking to their level on tactics, because they're taking away the very ability to have the conversation in the first place. Without conversation, there's no other solution.
Yes, I mean it is the short end of the stick.
As long as people can talk There is a solution. The moment we no longer can talk, I don't care who shut it down. I don't care why you shut it down. I don't care how you shut it down. Once you've shut down the conversation, it usually only goes in one direction.
It's not as if this is like an original idea. Who was the guy who said, was it Andrew Jackson or whoever, you know, I may not agree with you, but I'll fight for your right to have your opinion, whatever. Paraphrasing, obviously.
Fight for your right to say it.
Yeah, well, what we need right now is for the left to rise up and say, we need to fight for Alex Jones. If that sort of mass gesture actually occurred, I have a feeling that you will see a lot of people who have a real problem with the left go, wow, you guys rose up to save Alex Jones. You know, maybe you guys aren't all evil.
Yeah, but you know, Bob, this is one of the funny things with Tommy Robinson. It was actually a lot of people who were on the left who stood up and said, look, he's being treated badly. I mean, we may not like him, but that's just not the way it should be done. You know, that's not cricket.
We can hope that this happens.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, maybe they did stand up for Tommy, but, you know, right now the left in America is too busy standing up for that Guardians of the Galaxy fucking rapist guy. I mean, they're not going to give a fuck about Alex Jones.
I like Groot.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're all too fucking busy, you know, pretending to be friggin' Smurfs and shit. You know, maybe if you actually got back into reality and stopped pretending to be dragons and fucking, you know.
Hey, that's an ad hoc.
Hey.
It was, yeah.
I'm a vampire otherkin. Thank you very much.
There you go. Well, that's what I'm saying. If people would get out of that mindset, maybe, you know.
Please call me Count Bubble.
It would be, you know, it actually might be able to get that way. But while people are at this delay, you know, are playing these games, even if it's only being done satirically, you know, like ironically or whatever, it doesn't help.
But
it diminishes the validity. It diminishes.
I agree with you, Cabbage. But the thing is that you're seeing a major difference between how Europe, and I will be honest with you, I was fairly surprised and happily surprised, right, that there were so many people that did start to stand up for Tommy Robinson. But you don't have that in the United States. You don't have it.
No, not at all.
You do not see people on CNN, all right? They're not going to be talking about how much of a mistake it was to ban Jones. They're going to be gloating about it and everything else. And then they're going to go back to what they've been doing, all right, which is attack frickin' Trump and attack anybody in the right wing. And it's going to, and I'm telling you now, it's only going to get more and more vicious. And no matter how much memes and the people like memes want there to be solutions to this, the longer it takes for them to start joining us to put an end to this leftist nonsense, all right, the longer it's going to be, the longer the conflict's going to be, and actually the more severe it's going to be. Every time you come back and play a pox on both houses games, all you've done is help the left.
But MC, this is the thing.
But if the left is a perceived problem, shouldn't you try to fix it?
Of the mainstream media. There was
Are
no
you trying to
mainstream
fix
media.
the problem in the left memes?
MC, there was no mainstream media supporting Tommy. There was no mainstream media supporting Tommy. I mean, they tried. I mean, hell, there was even a restriction on reporting on his treatment.
Cabbage,
right?
the country's about the size of Rhode Island. I could drive across it in an afternoon. Of course, everybody could show up to help. America's a little bigger, okay?
No. What I'm saying is, but the idea that, you know, it was going to be done by, you know, CNN or something like that, that was never going to be the case. It was done by people who, you know, who just, you know,
and that's not here. But I do want to hear Meme's response to MC.
CNN could help, I think.
Memes, you were going to reply to MC before. What were you going to say?
Why wouldn't they help?
Because people
it's not in their best interest.
Keep giving them cover. The reality is memes.
No. He's not giving them cover.
He's not giving them
cover. No, it has nothing to do with cover.
When you see corruption, it's the same thing that Jeff Holiday did. All right. And I don't really have an axe to grind so much about Jeff Holiday, but take a look at what he did and why he did what he did. All right.
Are you talking about the doxing server, quote unquote?
Jeff Holiday was going against the SJW stuff so hard that he felt it necessary to go out of his way to look for corruption on the right. Not because it was readily evident, not because it was just popping up all over the place. He literally had to join others to try and go look for it because they felt bad about the fact that they were hammering the left.
Well, what corruption did he find?
What you mean? He's a self-hate. You say he's self-hating.
He went looking for the absolute outlier, that Coach Red Pill. Okay, to sit up there and go, okay, we found somebody. Now we're going to go after them.
I don't agree
now,
with all this
Coach
stuff.
Red Pill was not that big a YouTube personality in comparison
Coach
to,
Red
I don't
Pill.
know, Lacey Green, and you take a look at Steve Shives. All right, they would rather go after Coach Red Pill because it made them feel like, haha, I'm able to sit up there and be fair. And look, I'm in the middle. All right, so I can virtual signal, patting myself on the back. And the reality is every time you keep looking for this pox on both sides to try and go, look, like I can find something on the right. When what you're doing then is ignoring the freaking rock that's the left right in the road. Because you're so afraid to constantly call them out on it.
Well,
Hold on.
Real quick.
Quick.
I got a Streamlabs donation of $2 from Tiger Lily. Thank you very much. You are fucking awesome as always.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Hey, Tiger
DL for the win.
Hello. Love
Show
you,
us about a
darling.
bill. But
yeah,
here's the
go
thing.
ahead.
Yeah, no, MC, just kind of go back to that point. Okay, well, that's fair enough. But I have a quick conspiracy theory for our panel of conspiracy analysts here. So, was Coach Red Pill a trap?
Huh?
Like was that, like, quote unquote doxer Coach Red Pill, was that a trap? Because he seems like a pretty smart dude, and if he really cared about his identity that much, like, didn't he have certain personal information just kind of out there? Like, I have to think, like, maybe he didn't really know or anything. Maybe he really was concerned. Or was that, I'll be straight up, like, that would be a top-level troll, would it not?
Okay,
I don't know.
what does that have to do with my comment?
Yeah, you did come out with some really spurious.
Yeah, I'm
thoughts.
not seeing how that ties into things, but
no, it doesn't at all.
Let me address Let me
But-
address the pox on both houses things. I'm a pax on specific targets. Okay, so if I see a specific right-wing idiot, I will target said right-wing idiot. But I haven't seen a lot of them. You're making it sound like we need to start sacrificing for the big picture, which I don't think we should do, because we need to stay nuanced. We can ignore a right-wing nut job.
Well, it depends
so we
on
can
who's
focus on the
No.
left. And we
That was not my.
I know,
point.
but I'm not saying what that was your point. I'm not saying it was, but it's sounding like that. And so I want to point out, I don't think we should do that.
Like that. Why is it? Why in the world would you come to that conclusion?
Because you were very excited and really angry and yelling. Your emotional state really indicated to me that you were like, it's beyond the point where we have to have nuance. All right. I understand that a pox on both houses is not nuanced. All right. That's, they're both equally bad. No, they're not both equally bad. No. But there is some degree of bad on one side and another side that is far worse.
But as soon as you go down that route, all right, what you end up doing is you end up ignoring the one side. Because if you go, I'm not saying that Coach Red Pill was a great, grand, and glorious guy. That wasn't my point. My point was they went out of their way to seek him out. And what was the reason they did that?
Oh, it was definitely way. I know what happened. I was there. I actually talked to Red Pill once. It was way out of proportion to what was going on. Okay,
why did they
don't
feel
punch
the
down
need?
that hard. Okay, that wasn't a punch down.
Why did they
that
feel
was
the
an
need?
anvil down. That was a cartoon anvil.
Right, but why did they feel the need to go down that road?
Because Jeff Holiday is a histrionic kind of guy who gets all caught up in his own drama, and he just got out of control. I don't know if that's inevitable.
Because he felt like he had to, all right, in order to maintain his viewpoint of look, I'm in the middle. I'm not against the left. He felt the need to have to actually do that.
I can see the point that the attack on Red Pill was a virtue signal. It really, now that you're putting it that way, it sounds like he was virtue signaling his centristness.
Right.
I get your point there, but I don't think that's a repeating thing, though. I don't think that's the inevitable result.
No. I don't see that as a theme. That was just his, but that was one person's.
See, that's kind of why I say you think to their level, but no further.
It's not just him though that plays the pox on both houses game. Right?
Oh,
if you
yes,
take
other
a look
people
at
do
this,
too.
this is why, and I'm being harsh on memes, right? But in reality, I don't dislike memes, right? But I'm being a bit harsh on you because what you're doing is you're constantly looking for a way of excusing the misbehavior on the left.
I'm not
Well,
hearing
shouldn't you
that
give
part
both
from me.
or what all sides the benefit of the doubt until you have absolute reason
Exactly.
or good enough?
So in other words, let's ignore the excuses on the left and try and find a way that we can play the pox on both houses game. That's what you're doing.
Well,
I don't know, but no, wait. If he's being nice to both sides, that's hardly a pox on both sides. That's unpoxing both sides at the same time.
No, what he's saying is that he will claim one side and then the other, but that's the whole point because it's just. I mean, he's only fucking about. But I mean, I suppose you could look at it more as appeasement or something. So you want to appease.
Yeah, this is more of appeasement than poxing. He's not judging people. In fact, he's going, let's stop judging and let's have a taco together because we need to stop talking about all this.
Let's all sit down.
Get back to being human again.
How good is appeasement? Is appeasement a good thing?
Oh, I don't think it's going to work at all.
Didn't work out with Chamberlain.
I mean, I prefer to actually solve problems. So I think we need to boil down the actual disagreement rather than getting sidetracked. And number two, I like tacos.
No, I understand your position. I just think you're way too early. I don't think that the environment will support you. I think you've got a great idea and you are way too ahead of the. No, it's going to get.
I don't want to see a civil war, dude.
I don't think we're going to get there either because in America, we still do have that First Amendment. And while this Alex Jones thing is going to make things much, much worse, I think the inevitable pushback, where I think this is the watershed moment is, if I was going to take a pick, is going to be the midterm elections.
Well,
the midterm elections will be the moment. Okay,
but the midterm elections, let's talk about midterm elections.
But hang on, no, MC, before you do that, could I just quickly mention something? Bob, there's already been this thing where you remember President Trump wasn't allowed to make wasn't allowed to block people on Twitter, right?
Oh yeah,
so there's already been a Supreme Court judgment. I mean, good at even got to that point.
I mean, right. I love that ruling. It's such a horrible ruling,
right? Well, weirdly enough, but
was
that could work. Yeah, but that could work so well in Alex Jones's favor.
He's not in political office. If he
was, but it's still. Yeah, but the thing is that the president is still. Yeah, I mean, he's the first of the first, right? So, I mean. It should apply to everyone. If you
could make a case for it, you could make a case for it, but you're going to tie that up in court for years.
Real quick, we have another Streamlabs donation. Ogre sent $5. Said better than nothing. No, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
Wait, is this a Zionist conspiracy now?
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, I'm totally Jew.
Yeah, you're gonna.
I'm a vampire Jew.
I love you, Mr. Ogre.
Blah. I eat only guinea pigs. I hate the little fuckers.
Do you know the wages I am?
But if you're going to fix it, memes, the first thing you have to do is you've got to start from a principled position, and the principled position should be wiping out corruption.
No,
when you don't think so?
No, because people are creatures of passion and we use logic to justify our passions. We are not logical creatures with passion. We are passionate creatures with logic.
Okay.
Right? And as I said, it's going to be that shattering moment. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be that moment that finally breaks things up. That shattering
moment is going to be a war.
No, it could be that there's such an overwhelming red wave in the midterm elections that so many senators and congressmen get voted out of office and the Republicans get like an amazing majority that the DNC just freaking implodes and people finally go, my God, why were we with these assholes?
I think that's wishful thinking. And here's why
I don't think so. I've been looking at the numbers.
Hear me out. The thing is, when you start talking about midterm elections, right, within the United States, midterm elections are not like the elections that happen during the presidential race, right? And the reason for that is the focus of people tends to be quite a bit more local, on local politics dominate. Okay, so now you combine that with, in this specific case, right? One of the reasons people were talking about they're going to be a blue wave, right, has to do with the fact that there are 42 Republicans, right, that have resigned, that this is their last term, right? This is a quarter of the Republicans. 42 is like 25% of the Republicans are saying, okay, we're not going to stand for election again, right? So that's a significant number for that are not standing for re-election. It's
Why do you think that's a bad thing?
I didn't say it was a bad thing. I just said it's an unusually large number.
It indicates to me that they felt that their position was secure enough that they could retire now with a Republican replacing them. That before they didn't think they could do it because they couldn't take the risk. It
also could be the fact that they're a bunch of never Trumpers, and they just had it, and they're ready to walk away from the entire situation.
Well, MC, can I ask you? Okay, let's assume that the system is corrupt. How do you get rid of the corruption?
You point it out every time you see it.
Okay, no, that's a way, but what happens, how do you prove that? If these are the folks that are doing the job and everything, all I'm saying is if you absolutely have your foot on someone's throat and then you decide to put that blade to them, they may not take it well. What I'm saying is if you have someone's back up against the wall, you could give them an off-ramp without necessarily rewarding bad behavior,
okay, but
you may actually see more beneficial.
But the reality is that the reality is historically what has happened in recent history is exactly that. The left doesn't get held accountable. Nobody points out their corruption, and the people who are in the middle, and this is why I've got such a big ask about the people in the middle, right, is they'll turn a blind eye as long as their frickin' 401ks are doing well.
Well, they're acting in their self-interest, dude. It's like, I understand that.
Okay, so in other words, you're going to let this corruption has gotten to the point now where you can't afford that anymore.
Come on.
No, you shouldn't have corruption. That's why you need to
talk to me about this, Cabbage, because you weren't here to witness what they did with Bill Clinton.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying that anyone with that interest, so I don't think it's centrist necessarily. I think an awful lot of right-wing people are worried about their 401ks too.
The right wing did not sit up there and turn a blind eye when Nixon, all right, was ready for impeachment, but it was the left and it was the middle that sit up there and said, okay, we're going to turn a blind eye to Bill Clinton's corruption.
Well, wasn't that more of like we have the president of the United States being involved with the breaking into an enemy headquarters versus a dude that was basically getting this and that in the White House? Again, as the media portrayed it, yes, there were other things too. And those should be taken a look at.
You went right back to the freaking leftist talking points, and they can always count on you guys in the middle to go directly to the leftist talking points.
Well, no. Weren't there other things that you educated me on? You said there were other things there. Yeah, those things should be looking into.
Okay, but how could I be educating you on it?
Because you told me about a story I didn't hear before.
To the other side that you say, let's talk to one another.
He didn't say.
I'm sorry, I couldn't vote at that time, MC. My bad.
He didn't say that you that you converted him. He just said that you informed him of some information that he
right. But this information is old. Okay, this was nothing new that I was relaying to him. So the question is how come he didn't know about it? If he's that interested, if you're that interested into listening to both sides, and I use me as a sounding board, and I shouldn't do that because it's unfair to him. All right,
that's true. He is autistic.
I deserve it.
But the thing is if this is new information, the question comes back, why is it new information? Why didn't you know about this? Why weren't you aware of it?
Well, because it really wasn't all that important to me. That's why I came to you.
Okay, so the corruption of the president wasn't important to you. That's what you just said. As long as he was
like 13.
Oh, you're conflating a bit here.
Conflating what?
You're escalating examples a little too far. No, I did not hear those words out of his mouth. You are paraphrasing him.
Okay.
Okay, and you are telling him what you're hearing. So you need to go. What I'm hearing from you is
what he said is that what the other things that were going around weren't important to him.
because I didn't hear about
They
them.
weren't, and there's a lot of things
How
that
could
aren't
you not
important to
hear
me.
about them?
Yeah, I
Because
really
I
don't give
was
a
in
crap
middle
about this
school.
place that just blew up in, like, what was it? Some country somewhere, some truck hit somebody else, big
This
huge
is not
explosion, 2 people killed.
someplace
I
else.
don't
This is
care.
President of the United States. Are you going to tell me you're not aware of what's going on within the United States enough to find out, or at least explore it?
You know, I gotta
Depends
say,
on what time of the day it is.
it does
Because
amaze
trust
me.
I work 74 hours a
It does
week,
amaze me.
and
It took a lot of
sometimes I really
AOLCD
don't give a
to see
rat's
that story.
ass.
28 wasn't the greatest.
It does amaze me that the lack of. I mean, I can debate people with, you know, I mean, with regards to America. I mean, you know, some of the politics and things like that, and the topics. I mean, know absolutely nothing about any of the rest of the world, but I still keep up with, and you know, like I said, I like you said, maybe it's a British thing, you know, that we keep up with, you know, Greek politics and Spanish and French and, you know, other countries. Keep up with America because it's important, because the influence.
It is important. Yeah.
The influencers, they all, you know, I mean, like I wouldn't keep up to date with German, you know, politics because, you know, German politics obviously significant in the European Union. American politics very important for international trade. You know, I mean, what's happening in China, what's happening in, you know, South Korea, and I mean, but why wouldn't anyone pay attention to anything? I mean, what are you just meant to pay attention to what's happening in your local district or something?
That's
I mean, is that really how myopic Americans operate? Is that really that?
Usually they
is it
do.
That bad?
Yes,
Really?
unfortunately, it is that bad.
Okay.
It is a continuous problem. Especially, like, I just went to my family reunion, and that was terrible. That was terrifying. Because I was talking to these relatives who I used to look up to, who seem so intelligent and knowledgeable. They're telling me that they know definitively, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Donald Trump is a sociopath and narcissist. And I'm like going, let me get this straight here. He released his mental checkup before he even got the nomination. After he became the president, there was another mental checkup from the Air Force to make sure that he wouldn't destroy the world. Since then, he's gone through 2 different psychologists, one of which was chased out of the White House by the liberals. And you're telling me he fooled all 4 of these psychologists, but you, sir, can read his mind and know that he's a sociopath. This is what you're dealing with, okay? That these people believe they can read minds, all right? You are dealing with that level. They've got one issue. They've only got one issue, and they don't have any other issues.
You see, that's why when you said about the Brexit thing, I mean, you know, British people can deal with, you know, and this is the reason that
and unfortunately, I need to wrap this up here. It has been real and it has been fun. I'm glad I could get on Mad Dog.
It's not your channel. You're not wrapping anything up.
No, I'm wrapping it up.
You can just leave.
I'm leaving.
Memes,
stop by sometime.
I mean, you can fuck off.
Sure thing.
At this point, I'll just fuck off then. Okay, it's been real and it's been fucked. It's been real fucked. Thank you for your time. Memes, come by Eldritch Rant sometimes. We stream on Saturday.
Yes.
Cool to have you by. Talk to you later.
Bye,
dude.
See that? That was weird.
You know some interesting people, Cabbage.
I do.
Good
folks. Good people.
And I'm picking on memes, all right? Because I picked on.
Good, because he deserves it. Because he's a.
No, he doesn't deserve it to the extent.
No, I did no. Like I've told people before, my IRL and my internet life is very similar. I'm usually getting yelled at all day, or people are laughing.
Yeah, well, stop dressing the way you do.
What? What's wrong with you? I like denim. How dare you hurt the denim community?
No, I'm just wondering, does Cabbage have a secret fucking webcam set up in your house, Memes?
No, well, actually, he might, because my camera is available and he is an AI, so he absolutely has access. Wait until I take off my shirt later, Cabbage.
The world is my oyster. Actually, it's my mollusk.
I haven't shaved yet, so my bad.
All right, guys. Well, I think maybe we should wind this stream down a little bit and wrap it up. Do you really think that they're going to keep Alex Jones off of these platforms, or are they going to reverse their decision?
No, they won't reverse.
It depends on how soon President Trump tweets about it.
That doesn't matter. If President Trump tweets about it, they're not going to let him back on.
You know, it's I don't know. I think there could be like a Tommy pushback on this one. I think this could be like a Tommy equivalent, and that maybe they're testing the waters in terms of that, you know, that sense of affiliation. I mean, I think it's like, I mean, all of these things are social exercises, you know.
I tend to think, well, the only way that would really happen, Cabbage, is if there were over 9,000 streams or videos coming up within a 24-hour period.
Well, let's look at how many people have already been posting up about, you know, how offended they are. There are way more than there were on Tommy, and they're coming again internationally. And don't forget that Trump just, what was it, last week, or was it even this week? No, last week, that he was going, you know, saying about shadow banning and stuff. I mean, it's odd, right, that the same thing happens at the same time. It's almost like calling his bluff. You know,
I mean,
he talks about shadow banning, then he does this.
I can tell you right now, I'm still shadow banned.
Well, you see, but
what did you do?
You tell me.
I don't know. I don't know what you said. Oh, I could probably look.
Well, you can't because he's shadow banned, so you won't be able to see.
What? No, I follow him. I think. I don't. I'm a terrible person.
Yeah, well, we already know that.
Well,
without saying.
That's fair enough, Cabbage. Well played.
Well, I've been shadow banned when they first put out that link to say check to see if you're shadow banned. I immediately did, and I'm shadow banned.
Have you had Twitter spats with people?
You've seen most of my Twitter spats. The most Twitter spat I've had is with people like Jags and Artemis Brain Sample. The only other thing that I've done that's different than what everyone else does is I've constantly gone after the Washington Post and called them fake news.
Oh, they probably didn't like that.
Okay.
I usually respond with "I like turtles."
Yeah. Okay. So that's basically it. Just seed the field again, right?
Did that seed? Have you seen what a turtle can do? You obviously were not a fan of the Ninja Turtles growing up.
Well, that's true too. I'm not a huge
I swear to God.
Dude, it's the OG ones. You got to battle Krang and the Technodrome.
It's not OG, man. That's not OG. And just
well, fine. The original was the OG.
Whatever. No, just act like a fucking 2-year-old. It's good.
Well, no, real quick. Moz in the chat says to change the topic. One way to save the world.
Moz, come on in.
How would you save the world?
How would I save?
I know MC's answer is to nuke Mecca.
Well, mine's nuke Mecca. He wants to nuke Afghanistan. No, just fucking quarantine the Middle East. That's it. Well, I mean, any Islamic state, just quarantine.
I'd have to go with respect. RESPECT, something. I don't know the song.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should learn it before you quote it, you dick.
Okay. Once again, that gets you nowhere, right? You can still freaking try to kill somebody even if you respect them.
Respect is earned; it's not given, right?
You could always make a gesture. You could do a little something for something.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, just again, give away. Just be the
I didn't say give away. I'm saying maybe you could treat someone with respect, even if they're trying to kill you.
That's right. Maybe when they shoot you, you could thank them. That'd be great. That'll work out well. I wonder how many people, in Manchester when that bomb went off, said thank you, just so it's like, well, we've got to respect the principles of Islam.
Well, Cabbage,
that would have been a great.
Well,
Why
fucking,
is it?
that
Why
would
is
have
it
been
you
a real
expect-
solution.
Why is it you have an expectation
So
right,
fucking retarded.
that us in the West should sit up there and turn the other cheek? But you have.
Yeah.
I never
not
said turn
asking
the other
for.
cheek.
You
I'm
basically
saying you
just
sit
did.
down and have words, maybe break some bread, and you guys
Yeah,
can follow
stop
your
talking
path.
about breaking bread and stuff.
Well, it's
The
like I said, I
fucking
prefer
Jesus
chicken.
thing. All right,
Like,
it's bullshit.
you guys
I
do
know
your
that.
Twitter thing, you do
It's
your
the-
YouTube thing,
It's
I
the
will do my
bullshit
thing,
attempt
and if
at
I'm going to have one thing I can believe in,
breaking
man.
bread. Fuck off. Yeah, right. Yeah, Ninja Turtles. Yeah, and you know what? And the thing is, you seem to have the mentality of somebody who watches that.
I like the Ninja Turtles.
Rest my case.
Yeah, those are fighting words right there, Cabbage. I'm
Well,
coming
they
to
are.
you
Well,
for
they're
that.
not. Well, if they're fighting words for an
MC,
adult,
Trace
then
Cabby's IP.
I am
You have
definitely.
words.
Well, I tell you
Yeah,
what, I'm
Load the low orbit ion cannon. I'm Jake.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm winning. I'm
I'm
winning
sorry,
that
Gabby.
battle
No,
because
that's
if you fuckers really think that that's going to be a credible reference for you, yeah, trace my IP, come to my doorstep, and if you believe in the fucking Ninja
Gabby.
Turtles, I'll
I
beat the
can't
living
trace your IP.
shite
You
out
are
of you.
the IP.
I'm the AI.
Well, I was implying. Okay, fair enough.
It beat the living shite out of us. You know what? I want to see fucking Cabby and MC have a fist fight right after me and him have our duel, because I figure he's gonna win, obviously.
Well, I'll take you on what with rapiers, or do you want to go sabers? Maybe.
Well, I was
Either
thinking
MC or Cabby or MC are going to be showing up with a bullet in them, and then Cabby's going to be like, "I'll just poke more holes in you."
I'll just
Doesn't
bring
seem
it.
fair. Just hey, you guys find the ball pit. I'll say
Nah,
words.
you see, they'll pull me over, and then next thing you know, I'm gonna get fucking droned. That's what will happen. You see, I know a trap when I hear it.
There'll be a freak meteorite in the area. How
I
could
heard
this have happened?
I heard ball pit. Is this Kilroy 2.0?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. Anything else about Alex Jones? MC, do you want to cover those two stories you put into Discord, or are we done?
That's up to you. Do you want to cover them?
Yeah, sure. Pull one up. Let's see what's going on in the news today, other than Alex Jones being fucking blacklisted.
Yeah,
like
but Alex Jones, don't care what you say. I mean, it's a really fucking dangerous precedent.
The first one I pulled up was a Sikh man attacked, told to go back to your country in Stanislaus County. This is in California. A well-known Stanislaus County community, well-known member of the Stanislaus County community, was
obviously not that well known.
was brutally beaten while placing campaign signs, and police are investigating it as a hate crime. It was Tuesday night in Keys, and 50-year-old Surit Malahai, right? I can't pronounce that name. I apologize to the gentleman. Right, had just placed his last sign at the corner of Foot and Keys when he came upon two men waiting for him as he returned to his truck. As soon as I saw them, they threw sand in my eyes, and that was just the beginning of the attack. The two men proceeded to beat Malahai in the head, shoulder, and neck. And I cleared my eyes and I saw them. Blue eyes peeking through black hoodies is what he saw as the beating continued, and his attackers shouted, "Go back to your country." The same message, along with hate symbols such as white supremacist version of the Celtic cross, were spray painted on his truck. The version painted on the side of his truck was a cross that was mostly wrapped in a circle. It featured in the logo for Stormfront, a prominent white supremacist site. Malai feared for his life, and it was scary, you know. I mean, they were going to shoot. I thought they were going to shoot me. Ironically, Malai says that it was his turban that softened the blows, the very symbol that may have sparked the hate. My turban saved my life. Malai has been active in the Turlock community for years, raising thousands for homeless and fire victims using trucks from his trucking company to deliver supplies. He's a strong supporter of the Republican Party. The campaign signs he placed that night were for Congressman Jeff Denham, and other members of the Stanislaus County GOP. I'm an American, 100%, no doubt. So they say, go back to my country. This is my country. If you are a real American and you love America, you should not do that. That is not the American way. So he says he still gets dizzy spells, etc., and he says he won't stop supporting the GOP.
Yeah, well, we've had the same things here, mate. You know, this is one of the real problems that's existed. You know, since the Muslim, the Islam issue has come up. I mean, Hindus and Sikhs, they've never been a problem in British society. I mean, they like tea. They play cricket. They play rugby.
You love using this term, Cabbage, when you and I love to argue, all right? Mm-hmm. And I think this is exactly one of them. This is a false flag. I think that these were Antifa trying to place the blame of this attack on the little quote unquote right wing, all right, and that they decided to beat this guy because he's actually a member of the conservatives.
Well, I would like to take you back to the description that you gave. Why did they include the idea of blue-eyed in the description of the people, right? I mean, that is evocative if nothing else is. I mean, if you're looking at, trying to present a message.
Right. And of course, who's trying to present the message?
Yeah, exactly. So it's,
this is an example of what the media
Why
does.
would they mention blue-eyed? It's just bizarre. Like they were in, but so you can see the eyes, but they were blue. Yeah, it's like, nah, sorry. It sounds, yeah.
Well, I think this is a false flag attack by the left, that there's leftists, the Antifa, that were doing this.
Yeah.
And this is the problem when they start talking about, there's so many hate crimes in the United States. Okay, here's an example of a hate crime. Who's doing it?
The blue-eyed people. I mean, God, it's so simplistic, right? God.
But there will be people that will use this, and his name will get added in the statistics about how Trump, is raising hate.
Yeah, quote unquote, Trump's America. They like to throw that term around. Yeah.
The other thing is, you know what? If it never happened. Just, I mean, just a sort of a thought process, right? If everyone just stopped talking about anything to do with the left, how quick do you think that it would be neutralized?
It wouldn't be. They would take over further and further and demand more and more.
No, but I mean, if nobody, gave them credence, because the only reason that they get credence is because of the amount of response that they get. So that's why the escalation.
No. They get credence because the media is going to give them credence.
Well, I'm talking about like I'm not talking about mainstream media, because obviously they're always going to do that, right? But if everyone else just, didn't even mention them, and the lunacy that they're doing actually gets put out on mainstream media and just nothing from anywhere else. Because, I mean, the amount of people who really watch mainstream media now is so fucking small.
It's not that small. It's
really?
still more than if you take a look at the mainstream outlets and you add how large their audience are, it's still the majority audience.
But
at least in the United States, it is.
That's still not many, because I mean, there's very few people who even watch the news.
Okay, so where are people getting their news from?
But they're generally not. They're playing video games. They're listening to alternative media and things like that.
No,
I mean, they're not watching
they've done studies and as broad based as the alternative media has gotten, and it has gotten more significant, it's still dwarfed by the audience of the mainstream media. It's not that the mainstream media isn't shrinking, it is, but it's still the vast majority audience. It's not even close. So where are people picking up their news? Now, they may not be paying close attention to a lot of it. They maybe basically turning it on here and there, but that is where they're getting their news from. They are being affected by it.
Yeah. So you're talking about subliminal learning now. So they're hearing it in the background while they're tending to their children or something.
What do you think that they go on a video channel? Who are they going to listen to? They're going to listen to channels like this, or they're going to listen to channels like Steve Shives with his stupid puppets?
God damn, you got to bring up the puppets.
Dildos. The dildos.
How's it going,
please.
Moz? How are
Hey,
you
Moz.
doing this evening or night? In your case, it's
I'm glad you came
3
in,
the morning
man.
over there.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I've jumped in for one reason and one reason only. It's like we're moving towards the end of the stream, and it's been fantastic. And I'm going to do all that arse licking stuff. It's been a fantastic stream. I've really enjoyed just being in chat, listening to you guys, listening to you people, and interacting with chat. But I want to do just the final question because we've all been talking about it. We all know about it. And I just want to ask the final question. Then I'm going to leave. But if you had that one final wish, that one last thing you can say, how would you fix it? What is the one thing? The question is, what is the one thing you would change in the world today? What is that one thing that you would change?
What are you trying to end the stream for? Us?
I would have. I would have elected Ron Paul in 2012.
Why?
That's what I would change.
Why?
Because it would have been great. It would have been
awesome. Okay, well, Moz, I mean, can we clarify this? I mean, is it for the world or for Britain or
what I'm saying, Mr.
Cabbage,
is that what I'm saying, Mr. Cabbage, is that I'm sitting in my room from my own opinion, from the news information that I'm gathering around me. You know, from my perspective, the way I view the world is very different to the way you guys view the world. And that's why I appreciate listening to your streams, because you bring information to me that may not generally fall my way. So from you guys, the panel's point of view, the clever people that have just discussed all this, why, you know, how are you going to fix the world? We all know the problems. We all know what it is. And I'm not using the keywords, but we all know what the issue is with the planet today. If there's one thing that you guys could say, well, this is my new rule, what would you implement that you genuinely think would benefit the planet or the world or the people or...
Well, Moz, then we can only do it within our own nation state perspective, can't we? Really? Because, I mean, unless we're just going
I've got
completely...
a simpler answer. Sharia law, and I'm the court.
Personally, yeah, I'd ban Sharia in England.
Yeah, but I thought that would be taken as read. I don't think that one would have to come into the equation.
That would be taken as read because we all know it. But what is the one thing that you would actually, if you could write?
Well, that's what I mean. So, but the only one that I could really do, because I mean, I couldn't say something that America should do, unless you're saying like a global pact. And the only thing I could suggest would be the best thing that I could perceive for, you know, Britain. Really, isn't it?
You know what? I got it. I think if the Queen would actually take control of Great Britain and trigger Brexit for real this time, and, you know, actually fucking be a monarch, that would be a good change.
You know,
I'll go with that.
I'd back that to the hilt. I really would.
I'm of the frame of mind in personally myself that the Queen is the head of the army, so that when the government gets so bad that the Queen turns around and says, "No, I'm in charge of the army, and you'll do as you're fucking told." That
you know, I mean, from a British concept, right? From a British perspective, I'd say that we should try to make amends with all of our British Commonwealth countries because we have, you know, because of our European connections, the contamination that's occurred there. We do have a lot of bridges to build, and we should build those bridges.
Absolutely.
And you know, make make good with the people that we have history with. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely, Cabbage. Absolutely, 100% agree with that, because I'm thinking to myself that as much as on this planet as I live as a person, my biggest brother that I can have, I think, is America. And I love Americans. Yeah. Most of them. Yeah. Not all of them. But I still think we don't understand yet how different American to English culture is. I've experienced over a period of time talking to Americans, and their culture is very different to me. We speak the same language, we say the same words, but their culture, their references, and their difference is massive.
Oh no, mate! You have to go there to really appreciate the hospitality.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, it's brilliant. But it just depends where you have it, because the East Coast and the West Coast sucks, but you get down into the southern areas, it's quite astonishing. Amazingly hospitable people.
Well,
just
no,
stay
absolutely.
Stay outside of the city.
If you get out of the urban areas,
yeah,
America becomes quite a bit different. I mean,
yeah.
almost, and
awesome.
it is drastic. You are right, Cabbage. There is a tremendous difference between how people greet one another, how they talk to one another in the rural areas versus what they do within the urban areas. It's not even close. You are correct.
And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place just to go. Seriously, if you ever get the chance to do it, it's well worth the effort. It really is.
You'll find that the hospitality, though, is not just in the South. It's just the difference between the urban versus the rural areas. And
I think,
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, MC, but I think it comes down to this idea of that no matter where, over evolutionary speaking terms, people have landed, there is this idea that kind of, I don't want to say it, Western culture has grown people that all respect each other, all who are nice to each other.
Well, no, it's just a shared
kind of
cultural
not be afraid of being killed or mugged or
fundamental cultural values, but they do stem from. I mean, and I'm not religious, but they do stem from the Christian principles. The Ten Commandments, whatever. I mean,
Well, England is Judeo-Christian country, isn't it?
So
I don't believe in Christianity, but
but there's I'd say that the thing was, I think that those principles, the Christian values got converted into what was called a social contract, right? I think that's that's the thing that we have is a social contract, that people just don't be an arse to each other. I mean, it really doesn't have to be that difficult, does it?
What if you actually look up the word civil or civilization or civil? If you look up the word civil, it just means I won't basically punch you in the face. It means when you walk up to me, I'll be nice to you.
Yeah, and you won't steal my shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, really, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not complicated. But yeah. And that's the reason that, I mean, all of the countries that, are a part of the Western society, or, technically, I mean, obviously that's being subverted, but, I mean, they all seem to function extremely effectively. I mean, hell, even when we took it to China, I mean, Hong Kong works pretty well, Singapore, Malaysia.
I always wonder, because I'm not clever in this situation. I don't understand these things, and I'm not well read, and I don't do that. But when you look at all these countries that say, "Oh, England imperialized us, and England invaded us," and that, and then over a period of time, we moved back and said, "Okay, yeah, sorry, your country's your own." How many of those countries have profited then onwards, and how many of those countries got better, and how many of those? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, well, we brought our Western values to you and we submitted you and we were really nasty, but we're going to step back. How did you do in the 50 years after that? A lot of those countries, how much have they improved?
but we weren't really nasty. I mean, there was a couple of occasions when
we were, because we taught people and we gave
there
them
were
values and stuff. We imposed our ideology on them.
I wouldn't say
Isn't
we
that
imposed a
what
lot of
Islam
it.
is
I
doing?
mean, oddly enough, I mean, when you look at, say, India, we negotiated with their leaders. I mean, that's how it was done. If you look at what happened in the Middle East, we negotiated with the sultans, and when we went to India, we negotiated with the Maharajas. I mean, we were dealing with the people who were in charge, and the Maharajas were the ones that pretty much meted out the kind of shit. It was only once we went later on. I mean, once it got beyond the mercantile period, and then it became imperial, that it started to get a little bit shaky. But at the end of the day, they had infrastructure. What did they do with that infrastructure? Did they maintain it? Did they improve it? Did they?
What did the bloody Romans ever do for us?
Exactly, it's exactly that. It really is, and you see that.
Roads.
They did, and the aqueducts.
Yeah, but roads and aqueducts. But what did the Romans ever do for us?
Viticulture.
It's always more roads. It's always about.
I'll be honest. As a person, I feel as a person, I'm growing and becoming stronger. When people come up to me and talk to me, I feel like I'm growing and becoming stronger. When I say to them, and they say to me, and I go, no, I'm descended from Vikings and Normans and Saxons and Romans, people that built the world. And there's no direct route, and I'm a pussy and all that kind of shit. But to be able to say to people, you know what? You look back and you say the Vikings were nice. They built something. You look back at the Romans. They built something. They structured the world forward.
Yeah, and the same thing with I mean, when Britain, the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution. I mean, all those things, and it's not something that we should be ashamed of. And that's the thing, that they're trying to make us, they're trying to shame us for what we did.
Yeah.
And the thing, and don't forget that in actual fact, the biggest, I mean, when you look at the treatment of the British people in that scenario, in that period, was pretty fucking hideous. You got children working in mills and things like that. We didn't need slaves from Africa. We had our own.
You had the Irish. Sorry.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah, but no, it's right. It's actually right. I mean, and Mad Dodge just nailed it there, because it happened in the past. People in the past weren't learned enough to understand, and they did things. But don't blame me for it.
No, but the thing is, I mean,
don't get me wrong. I'd enslave an Irishman in a heartbeat.
Technology changes a lot of that dynamic as well, though, and that has to be understood.
Yeah, but MC, it's the people who embrace the opportunities, right? And so, like America and Canada and New Zealand and Australia, and a lot of the, I mean, places. Well, I mean, even looking even in recent periods like Korea, when they get the opportunity to adopt better technologies to improve their lives, I mean, Hong Kong, all of these countries which are, rather than trying to, cast it off, that they adopted, they seem to end up doing very well with it. And then you've got the countries that have cast it off, who are now the ones who are coming back and saying, well, you owe us money because we didn't actually know how to deal with what we had, They're the ones who are complaining. The ones who adopted it have been able to function more than, I mean, have not only taken it, they've taken it to new levels.
You're right. I absolutely agree with what you're saying.
Well, but it's a matter of how the application is. I agree with you that the people that adapted the culture, that adapted to it, all right, who wanted to advance, all right, and were willing to push it forward, were the ones that did it. But that's also true, if you take a look at it, in Asia as well. The main reason Japan became the powerhouse that it did right, was due to the fact that they culturally realized they had to change, and they did.
Yep.
It wasn't necessarily for the better in some ways, right? But they did recognize that they had to change, and they did enact that change.
Yeah, but Japan's problem was because of the emperor thing, and you know,
it's just a
absolute
question.
overlord.
Does this come back to IQ? And I have to say openly, for YouTube reasons, to not get this channel demonetized. But
trust me, that's already happened.
When you look at IQ, are some people more understanding of what you're trying to move forward to, and some people are not so understanding of what you're trying to move forward to? And I'm trying to make it cryptic. But it's just, look, some people have an IQ of 190 and some people have an IQ of 10.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. And shouldn't we all work together to get everyone up to somewhere where something's working great? And everyone can call me a racist, but one of my heroes is Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. So everyone else, fuck off. Because he's of that skin color that I'm not allowed to mention, but he's my hero.
Neil
and he's my
deGrasse Tyson
truth.
is an ass.
I'm not a fan of his.
He's a smart man when it comes to physics, but I would never put him up as one of my heroes.
Okay. No, he is my hero, MC, because of the physics. Because I'm stupid enough to want to learn about that stuff, and he's a person I can learn from. And if you know what, and what we're talking about, it's nothing.
Who's that British guy over here? Who's the British guy? You know, the little fucking soy boy that does all the ones over here for the BBC. I mean, yeah, look, isn't it? I mean, he's certainly part of the education system, but I wouldn't say that. I mean, color of skin or not, it makes no difference. I mean, yeah, so, you know, he can be clever. Yeah, what you're talking about is the average, you know, the median. It's a very
I always
different
put
matter.
myself in the middle.
I'm sure you do, but I think you're overqualifying yourself.
Well, turn left, turn right. You're always touching something.
All right,
touching cloth.
I do have to go do something, so we're gonna wrap it up. Any final thoughts on Alex Jones being deplatformed, or we're good? We beat that dead horse to death, right?
Well, I haven't added anything on that because obviously I haven't been in a stream, but it's just totally wrong, and we all know it. We all know it. How are we going to wrestle the powers away?
Yeah, we need to find a new platform. I mean, we do have a few, BitChute, Gab AI, stuff like that, but they're not as YouTube, what we're on right now. And
yeah, but they don't need to be. So we can adapt. That's the great thing about human beings. We adapt very quickly.
I think technology-wise, YouTube is the middle at the moment where everyone hears what you're talking about. But they're pushing us into our new platform, into Gab, where nobody hears our voice anymore. Look at Lauren Southern. Look at Molyneux, their new director.
Well, no, I think this is where the whole
media,
point.
The people in charge.
People need to now really prepare. I mean, if they are going to be, I mean, if this is clearly the method that's going to be utilized, then this is the time for, you know, everyone to get over there and just not, you know, just not use YouTube anymore. I mean, simple as that.
Yeah, but that's just us again. This is the point I think a lot of people are missing. That's just us. That's you, Cabbage, that's been red pilled. That's you, MC, that's been red pilled. That's you, Mad Dodge, that's been red pilled. The rest of the people just left behind, and they're going to mass numbers on us. Because
but the thing is, but those other people, they will do, because they'll adopt things that they're, you know, that other people. I mean, I'm sure that you interact with people, right? I mean, I know I do, and I'm sure that Mad Dodge does. And so you say, well, no, I don't use Red. You know, why would you use YouTube? I'm on Gab, and so people will adopt it because that's the way that people.
At the moment, though, there's one advantage that YouTube has and will maintain at least for the near term, no matter how you want to look at it, and that is that they have a historical context.
And they have cats. They have lots of cat videos.
Well,
and
but
there are
they've
a lot
also
of
got a lot of
the
other type of videos that
They
people
have
want to
control of
watch.
the media at this moment in time. They have control of the media, and the message they're putting out is going to quash the stream that we're on now.
They want to become a cable TV, system. I mean, it's always been known. I mean, it's been known since the beginning. I don't understand why anyone's so surprised about the dynamics.
Because not everyone's as smart as you.
Yeah, they made it clear themselves. It's not me being smart, mate. All you got to do
Not
is
everyone
read.
looks into it. Not everyone understands it. There's no one in my life that I speak to at the moment that gets the global control that these corporations and media governments are moving towards. And every time I speak to people, they're completely on the opposite side. They are genuinely, and I'm not just making it up. It's like when I say to someone, "Oh, Tommy, former EDL leader, Tommy Robinson.
BNP.
Why did they say it that way?" And I have to
Yeah.
go through a whole discussion every
Mm.
single time to explain to these people that mainstream media is lying to them. And I think it is 30% us and 70% them.
Yeah, but the thing is that who gets trusted the most? Your neighbor, your friend, your colleague, or someone, or some talking head on the news. I mean, that's the power that we actually have in real life. But it's IRL.
To an extent, yes, but there's also the aspect, Cabbage, and you can't ignore it, that people will defer to somebody that they think has authority.
Well,
People
only
defer
yeah,
to
you will, because you're a fucking author. You believe in authority. That's why.
Yeah, you authoritarian prick.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, MC. Give your last thoughts, and I'm gonna wrap this up. We can hang out off air for a little bit if you guys want.
It's time for
Awesome
supper anyway,
stream
so it's
all
good
the way
time.
through, guys. Sorry, MC.
No, I was just saying that it's time for my supper time anyway. So
Yeah. Yes, again.
Okay. So
tomato.
no final thoughts. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching the show and supporting us. We got quite a bit of fucking donations today. Compared to every other day. So I really appreciate it, guys. We're out of here. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Good night. Good luck. And let fucking Alex Jones talk. You sons of bitches.
Hello.